Come on in, come on in. Kick off your shoes. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Let's get right into it, family. Ayo, peace, family. Welcome back to Flesh of the God.
Enforcement agencies say this is one of the toughest investigations they've dealt with in their career, and they fear the amount of GARON KILLIAN's bond could put the community at risk. Still an active scene days after a massive shooting at a pool party advertised on social media, where more than 80 shots were fired over the weekend on Walnut Acres Drive. People in Catawba County say they're frustrated to learn 20-year-old GARON KILLIAN's bond is only $200,000.
Everyone is just, in shock. I mean, you can't really go anywhere or do anything anymore out of fear that something might happen.
Anita Flynn was in court on a separate case Wednesday and witnessed Killian appear in front of a judge.
It's terrible to me that bond is just set way too low, in my opinion.
Further defendant charged any of the bond.
We previously reported GARON KILLIAN and another person was arrested back in April for shooting into a crowd in a parking lot near a Chuck E. Cheese franchise. Catawba County Sheriff Don Brown told media during a press conference he's outraged.
I believe he should have never been back on the street after Hickory Police Department charged him with those crimes. He bonded out of jail on April 14th. 48 days later, all of our lives changed. This is frustrating. It's infuriating.
Investigators have a long road ahead. They are still looking for another gunman in this case. Challen Huff Jr. is facing one count of first-degree attempted murder. Investigators believe Huff.
So we're going to be getting into this, which is crazy. Talking about a mass shooting at a party. But for some reason, they only looking for certain people, and they only talking about certain situations. Crazy to see, but we gonna get into it.
May have also been connected to the shooting in April as well. 19-year-old Keandre O'Neal Mack has also been charged with one count of attempted first-degree murder.
We are regularly asked by our community members why should they come forward with information about crimes being committed if the person is just going to be back in the neighborhood. And in cases like this one, it leaves me with no answer.
And this is where the burdens of proof in a case become important. You aren't to consider things outside of these instructions. A vote of not guilty on a count is simply a statement that the state hasn't met its burden of proof and is required under the law.
We also got that Derrick Thompson coming up, which is a pretty crazy trial. I ain't gonna lie. We got the most of the trial, not the whole thing, but we got some of the opening, some of the closing. We gonna get right into it, family. Appreciate y'all being here.
And ladies and gentlemen, we have to ask more for our government. We have to ask more of the agents who get up and testify and lie to the faces of jurors. The state has simply not investigated the case. The state simply has not eliminated doubt as to the guilt of Derrick Thompson as the driver of this vehicle. This car rolls twice and spins around. Officer Lignell, in his cuter than half testimony, acted like he didn't even know if the car spun around.
Charged with several counts of third-degree murder and criminal vehicular homicide for a high-speed crash in Minneapolis that killed 5 young women. But in the last 24 hours, a ruling that could make the case more difficult to prove. Lou Ragoose leads us off tonight. Lou?
Well, Julie, a lot of people might think that this is an open and shut case. Derrick Thompson was already convicted in a federal trial after all, but third-degree murder is difficult to prove, and the judge made some rulings that really help the defense.
The evidence the jury will see in Derrick Thompson's murder trial will be jarring and no doubt emotional. 5 women died when the SUV Thompson rented crashed into their car, all caught on surveillance camera. But there is significant evidence the jury will not see.
That's a blow for the state. That makes this a harder lift.
Attorney Marsh Hallberg, who's not involved in this case, believes a series of rulings by Judge Carolina Lamas will make proving murder more difficult. She's allowing Thompson, who was arrested shortly after the crash, 30 minutes after renting and driving the Escalade from the airport, to try to pin the blame on his brother DeMarco. He claims DeMarco was the one driving the Escalade.
The theory of an alternate perpetrator is somebody else. You got the wrong person charged.
In Thompson's federal trial, he claimed his brother was a passenger and that the drugs and illegal gun found on the passenger side belonged to him. In this trial, the jury won't even find out about the drugs or the gun. Judge Lamas ruled they are not relevant to the charges, even though the prosecutor's stated theory is that Thompson saw a state trooper while driving 95 miles per hour on 35W, then quickly exited to avoid being caught with the drugs and the gun.
It'd certainly be nice to be able to point out the reason he's running is possibly because of the gun or the drugs in the car, but they don't have to have it. But it's certainly a nick in the state's case.
The prosecution also cannot show the jury that Thompson was convicted of doing nearly the same thing in California, seriously injuring a woman. But they will continue with their pursuit of a third-degree murder conviction, which would put Thompson in prison significantly longer than his lesser charges.
Third-degree M's. Man, that's crazy. He was speeding like crazy. He hit them girls, man. It's a sad case. I don't know why this thing popping up everything. It ain't supposed to be doing that. What up, everybody? Miss D55, Late Night Bacon, Tech Clouds, FFS, Joni 4, Jazzy T. I see y'all and appreciate y'all, family. Always appreciate seeing y'all here. We about to get right into it, but before we do, check this out. Well, what up, family? Thanks again for being here. I hope you all are feeling the energy, absorbing those truths we just laid down, and definitely got more coming. But before we dive back in, I gotta be real with you for a second. This is a big moment for Flesh of the Gods. Your support right now is more crucial than ever. Seriously, every bit you give, it goes straight to us leveling up. We're talking about new programs, better tech, everything we need to make this show even more impactful. Why now? Because we're gearing up for something massive. That's right, family. The first ever AAI, Algorithmic Achievement Impact Awards. But to light this show on fire and make it a truly mind-blowing experience like it's supposed to be, we need your help to get the resources in place. This isn't just a show, it's a statement, and we want to make it legendary. So how about I give you a taste of what your support makes possible? Check this out. We're building out some wild new ways for you to connect. Now, we all know this is the most interactive live around in these YouTube streets. This vision, this future, it needs your help to manifest. So please, if you're feeling the call, throw your support behind us. Every dollar makes a difference. It's an investment in the truth, in the growth, and into our overall shared journey, family. Also, this includes new chat prompts and a couple new things that I got under my sleeve. But anyway, I'm asking you to help us make this AAI Awards show the most unforgettable and help us to keep pushing boundaries of what's possible here on Flesh of the Gods. We're in this together. Thanks in advance, family. The Cash App and PayPal donation links are right here. And if you could help, it will be greatly appreciated. You could also help just by hitting that like button or that subscribe button. Thank you all in advance. Much love, family. Now let's get back to the show.
These nuts. Got him. Got him.
Just a hot mess.
So starting at 9:30, 9:35 or so, the defendant arrives at Hertz. Note the time, members of the jury, 10:09 p.m. The Escalade appears on that first 35W traffic camera, passing under 5th Street, just coming up to where that trooper is parked. And here he is at 46th. The trooper's waiting under that overpass. He's about to pass him. Now he's just past the trooper. Members of the jury, you make the decision. Has his driving conduct changed? Does it appear that he's now going faster? Changing lanes? Coming up to the next light. You can see the trooper behind him. Hasn't gained a lot, because at this point, he's got his foot down on the accelerator. And at 35th, you can see him weaving around other vehicles. And you know, the trooper who's trying to catch up with him hits his brakes at least once for the safety of other cars and based on the traffic that they're on the interstate at that point. And finally, as he gets off the interstate here, crash reconstruction estimates he's going 116 miles an hour as he gets off on that exit. So here is that first light. And those lucky individuals who cleared out just in time as he's driving down the center of the road. Now we're between 31st and Lake. Parked cars, other vehicles.
Oh, crash. We are Lake Street. Never line up, start fire, start medics. East Lake Street.
East Lake Street, start fire.
Switching to the body cam of Trooper Guerra.
Where'd he go? What? Hey, they took us on the alleyway, northbound.
So apparently, Derrick rented a car. As soon as he left, maybe about 30 minutes later or so, he was already speeding the whole time he left. We're gonna see more footage of that. But the police got behind him. It doesn't really show if he saw him or not, but he might have seen him when he passed him and just tried to get up out of there before they caught up to him. And then he got up to the light and hit the 5 girls at a light. And then ran. I don't know how he got out immediately, I guess, because right after the crash, he was gone. Like by the time the police got there, which was only like 5 minutes behind, not even 5 minutes, like 10 seconds behind him, he was already gone. So I don't know how that happened. But yeah, let's get into it.
Sorry, Max, sir, we got a confirmed 5-4 here. Suspect fled northbound. Suspect's vehicle is John Paul Robert, 235 T-bone at the intersection. Hey, northbound, I think through the alley here, right? What's he wearing? I have no idea. What's he wearing? Hey, what's he wearing? What's he wearing? What's he wearing? Gray sweater? White or gray sweater? Some black veil? White veil, black veil? Hey, stay away, stay away.
Really quick, open you. Hey, you got it.
Bro, was there shooting over there? Go ahead, bro. I can't, man. I gotta pick up somebody, bro.
Crosses Lake Street, walking into the Taco Bell parking lot area. So basically those last 2 videos, the one taken by Mr. Muhammad and this one from the front kind of area of Sabri properties adjacent to Taco Bell, those basically take you across Lake Street. He's walking into Lake Street in the beginning of Mr. Muhammad's. He's finishing walking across the street here. Note, members of the jury, that as he walks into this area, he turns and looks back. There are multiple members of law enforcement on the scene with their lights on at this point. He's clearly struggling to get much farther by foot, makes the decision basically to try to blend in.
You guys see anybody come over here? Why are you bleeding? Why are you bleeding? Use your hands. Why are you bleeding?
That this defendant was the driver of that Escalade. I want to be clear.
We're going to have more of that coming up later. This is just her closing statements, but we're going to have that full video of when the cops came up on them.
There's no evidence in this case that more than one person was ever driving the Cadillac Escalade on June 16th of 2023. No one saw another driver. There's no video of another driver. This defendant selected and rented that Cadillac under his own name, paid for it with his credit card, and drove it out of the airport. There is no evidence, there is no indication that anyone else was ever planning to drive it, that he planned on having anyone else drive it at any point. As the troopers approach, the driver's door is ajar, as Trooper Garrett testified to. The members of the jury, the other doors in that vehicle were most assuredly not sitting open when the smoke cleared. Those doors were closed. Not only were those doors closed, they were compressed by the crash, and they were difficult for the troopers to open when they went to clear the vehicle.
All right, guys ready? Open. Clear.
Please, hands up!
Back.
Now you can see the blue hat right there on the ground. That was his brother's hat. So I don't know, you know, what's that about? But he said he gave it to him.
There is no evidence from the crash video that any of those other doors were opened or that anyone else fled from the vehicle. There's no evidence from any of the surrounding videos that anyone else walked through, ran through. The one witness who lives there, who stuck around and spoke to police, was a woman who lives just steps away, who was at her mailbox when she saw this happen, who testified clearly during this trial and told Sergeant Legnell the same thing clearly. She saw the crash, she saw the roll, she saw the Escalade come to a stop, and she saw one person get out.
50 other cops have talked to you already, but I'm one of the investigators. Hi, and what's your first name? Dorinda. So tell me kind of what you saw tonight.
Well, I heard some people, you know, they're always out there in the McDonald's garage. And I was watching a movie, and my dad wanted to go out, so I opened the front door. I always keep my back door open, like, but it's latched, so I always keep my gate.
Yeah.
But I let my dog out, and I went to go get my mail. As soon as I reached in the mailbox, I heard screech, boom, boom. I saw the SUV come tumbling in front of me.
Okay.
I was like, holy shit, what the fuck? So I kind of froze. The dog was barking, and people behind the garage were like, oh shit, blah, blah, blah. And I just kind of froze. And I saw the guy, like, kind of climb out of the car and grab his leg and start running through my neighbor.
Okay. And then, so he came out of the SUV?
Well, I was like trying to grab my dog.
Sure.
But I didn't see him, but yeah, I seen him leave in the SUV. I didn't see him get out.
Okay.
But I seen him like.
And just the one guy?
Just one guy, yeah.
Okay, and then what was he wearing?
The white t-shirt and the kind of gray and green sweatpants.
Okay.
And he had like a bean cap on too. And
Was he
dreadlocks?
White, black?
Black.
Okay.
Like 6 plus.
Okay, was he heavy, medium?
Medium.
Okay. So green and gray sweatpants? And a white t-shirt, and like what color was the beanie hat?
It's like gray.
Okay. And how long were his dreads?
Like to his shoulder.
Okay. And then, so you saw him come running through the yards here, and then
No, I didn't. Well, I seen him pull in for me.
Okay.
And then I was like, I came in, I was like, holy shit. I grabbed my dog, put him in, shut the front door, and I was like, oh shit, my back door's open. So I seen him go this way. So I like came out to the porch there. I've seen him come through here and run this way.
Okay.
Towards that 3rd and Lake.
Okay.
So you were about 5 or 6 feet from him?
The absence of evidence is not the evidence.
Like right here. Shout out to Sylvia Gone. Yeah, you're welcome. I believe that was from FFS. Shout out to FFS with the gifted memberships. Appreciate you, family. That's definitely going to be going to help us with the show. Shout out to everybody in the chat. What up, Chloe Albert's Revenge? I see you. Joni Ford always got gifted. Tia C got gifted. Y'all show some love to FFS and drop some slime umbrellas in the chat. Drop some FFS emojis. We appreciate you, family.
Okay. And then, were you talking with the cops when he...
No. The cop wanted to hear it. I saw the whole crash in the car roll. The cop wanted
At some point, did you see this guy again with the police? Or the... Okay. And did you tell one of the cops that that was the guy that you saw?
Yes.
Okay.
And I was like, well, he got a limp because he was holding his leg and he was limping.
Okay.
And I was like, well, when I was in the back of the cop car, I was like, well, can you like maybe walk by me or something so I can be positive? And so they were like pulling him up. His leg kept getting on. I was like, yeah, that must be him, yeah.
Okay.
He had like a cut on his floor there.
The same clothes as the person you saw running?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. I appreciate it.
Members of the jury, I expect you'll hear some argument in a few minutes about that beanie cap. So I want to address that directly. So when you look through the evidence, and I would submit to you that maybe the ambulance video is the best view to get all the details of what Mr. Thompson looked like that night. But you've also got video and evidence of him limping in the dark. The way that his dreads are twisted down against his head and then loose at his neck, I would submit to you, members of the jury, is in the dark to a witness consistent with someone who has a hat with hair coming out. And if you watch that video, as she describes it, she actually does this with her hands. And that is completely consistent with the way his hair is styled, and it is reasonable under these circumstances to have perceived that as a hat holding down his hair and then having it loose at the neck. The defendant's injury, in this case, the specific injury, the fractured acetabulum, that's the concave part of the pelvis on the right side. Because in that 1 second before the crash, he moves his foot and he's jamming it against the brake. And that's where his foot is extended out as the crash occurs. That injury to his right side of his pelvis is wholly consistent with that. Another thing to note, that injury, the difficulty he has moving around, that is entirely inconsistent with someone who's in a different seat of the vehicle climbing to get out the driver's door. He can barely sit down and stand up from the squad car. He is absolutely not crawling over the center console of the Escalade with airbags deployed, which limit the space even further. The DNA in this case, we've got a rental car here, we've got mixtures as we so often do. On the driver's door, it is more than 100 billion times more likely that Derrick Thompson is included in that mixture than if he is not.
She said more than 100 billion times. Billion with a billion. Shout out to FFS, still back up in there dropping the memberships. Appreciate you for the support. Y'all dropping some more love. Appreciate you, family. Let me see. Miss Scorpio, we see you. Here comes drama. Y'all got gifted. Appreciate you. Show some love to FFS, helping us getting closer to that goal. Appreciate it.
Have a good night. Have a good night. Have a motherfucking good ass night.
DeMarco Thompson, moderate support with the DNA. I'd ask you to consider, however, members of the jury, Derrick and DeMarco Thompson are brothers, and family members share characteristics of DNA. Sustained. It's also possible that if some amount of DeMarco's DNA is included in that mixture, it's from when they were looking at the cars together. The much higher likelihood ratio for Derrick Thompson is also most consistent with him being the last person to have touched that. There's a major male profile on that bag. There's a major male profile on item B in that bag. And there's a mixture from which Derrick Thompson cannot be excluded from item C.
That's a fact. Joni Forrest said that's a shame. And you know what's even crazier? He tried to blame it on his brother and say his brother was driving.
With a high likelihood ratio. DNA is tricky. It's one of those things that we think is going to be, sort of the conclusive evidence of a particular thing, but DNA can't ever tell the whole story. So when y'all pass that microphone around during jury selection, each of you touched it. There's probably a mixture of DNA on it. If we swabbed it, we'd almost certainly get a mixture. Some of you would be included. There would be some likelihood ratio. It wouldn't tell us when or why. The other evidence in the case has to tell us that. As you heard in this case, transfer is possible with DNA. But what's something that doesn't transfer? Fingerprints. You don't wipe somebody's fingerprint up.
So they found his brother DNA on the door panel also, but I don't know. It still don't look like I don't know. They didn't say how much it was or nothing, but they did find some of his brother DNA on the door panel. So he might have been driving. I don't know.
Off something and deposit it down on another surface. And in this case, the fingerprints show that his right index finger is on the center of the dash. And his right ring finger is on the screen of the iPhone, plugged into the center console in the cup holder. Are those two things consistent with someone in the driver's seat, in addition to all the other evidence? You can, of course, consider all the things he did after the crash. The attempt to flee, the attempt to conceal himself through a route around the alley, and then to blend in with those people sitting in the Taco Bell parking lot. The lies he's telling about his injuries, and the attempts he's making to deflect attention, yelling at the witness, it was not me. Those things are what we often call consciousness of guilt. Those lies and attempts at misdirection are indicative of what he knows.
Yeah, this is the prosecutor. This is her closing arguments. I don't remember her name, but yeah, this is one of the prosecutors.
You can also consider that recorded call you heard yesterday on the day that he's charged in this case. He's indicating to the other person, I want those blood results to come back to show I was sober. Well, why would that matter if you weren't the driver? It was several days ago now, but the first witness in this case was Kenesha Walker. She testified that he said he was driving. That, members of the jury, is direct evidence of that fact. A witness telling you that he admitted it. A little bit harder to forget, because it was more recent, was yesterday. It's Marco Thompson. The only other person who ever touched that Escalade from Hertz on, DeMarco Thompson stated clearly and under oath that he never drove that car. He testified that the two of them drove a short distance from the airport. They stopped, and Derrick transferred some possessions from the Challenger into the Escalade and drove away alone in the Escalade. Members of the jury, his testimony is direct evidence of what he testified to, but there's also corroborating evidence of it in this case. So the timing, the distance from that airport location to the crash and the time it took, that's consistent with a short stop to transfer personal items. The testimony and statement of Dorinda Pacheco, she sees the entire crash. She sees him get out of the vehicle. She only sees one person. And the defendant's own words. When he's in the back of Officer Damon's car, he's using her phone, and Kenesha asks, "Where's my car?" And he says, "My brother." That is consistent with and corroborates what DeMarco told you about where he was in the vehicle he had. So as I said, if he is the driver, there is no question he is guilty of criminal vehicular homicide.
Why she sound like she?
Alternative types of criminal vehicular.
Why she sound like she was crying the whole time? Yo, FFS going crazy in the chat. Appreciate you, family. Y'all show some love. Drop them slime umbrellas.
Homicide, he is guilty of both iterations of criminal vehicular homicide as to each one of these young ladies. So counts 2, 5, 8, 11,
The absence of
14.
evidence is not the evidence.
Gross and negligent driving.
What?
Don't rely on my shortened summary of the law. You should rely on the instructions that the judge gave you. I just wanted to have it a bit shorter for the purposes of discussing it here. The victim's death must be proven. As to each one of these young ladies, their death is proven. The defendant caused the victim's death. That's quite clear as well. And the conclusion of that crash reconstruction indicated it also. The defendant caused the death while driving in a grossly negligent manner. So that's the aspect of this that makes this charge different from the others. Grossly negligent manner. Members of the jury, any one of the things that he was doing is grossly negligent. Trying to get away from that trooper over 100 miles an hour, even on the interstate, but much less on a city street, on an exit ramp, 20-mile-an-hour area. And then flying into the intersection against a red light. Any one of those things would be grossly negligent. The combination, it's overwhelming. As to counts 3, 6, 9, 12, and 15. So once again, for each individual who was killed.
Could you please say and spell your name for the record?
So this is the parents of one of the girls that was in the car that night, and her sister. Oh dang, dude, I got her sister clip on here. I think I do, but her sister wasn't in the car with her. But this is her father.
Burhan. Last name is WARFA.
Warfa, WARFA. First name Burhan, BURHAN.
Double A, not
double A. Burhan, BURH, double A.
No. BURHAN. Last name WARFA.
There was a vehicle that came through the camera right at the very end of that clip. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Which vehicle was that?
That'd be the Cadillac.
And now this is the cop that was following them. No, this. Let me see. I don't know if this is the one that was following them. It's two of them, but he was there that night.
Carlton's crash.
I think the other one might have been following them. Let me make sure.
No. Oops.
Yeah, I think this cop right here, he just, dang, you see how quick that mug came zooming through? It looked like they had it on fast forward. But yeah, this is the cop. I think he's just talking about the footage. This is not the one that was actually following them.
Pausing the video now, 51 seconds in. Did we see the Escalade drive through the area just a moment ago?
Yes, we did.
Did it appear that there was a collision off at the top right corner of the screen?
Yes, there was.
Can you tell?
Yeah, I got it blurred out.
This image
I might
what
just
the
fast forward
light
that part
was,
because I ain't trying to show that.
2nd Avenue.
My bad for talking over them. But yeah, Chloe, I got you. I ain't trying to show that. But it is blurred out, so it's not going to show it anyway. But I might still skip past that part.
As you're entering the intersection with Lake Street.
It appears to be red.
Now, I also want to draw your attention to the top right of the screen. It looks like there's a timestamp of 9:11 p.m. Does that appear to be a correct timestamp to you?
Not for when the time of the crash occurred.
Is it your understanding that the time of the crash was about 10:11 p.m.?
Yes, it was.
Why would the timestamp be about an hour off?
It could be from whoever owns the camera system. They haven't adjusted properly for daylight savings time with that 1 hour difference.
So it's your understanding that this video would have been taken at 10:11 p.m. approximately?
Yes, correct.
Play the rest of the clip now. Sergeant, you also pointed out Sabry Properties on that map just a moment ago. Do you recall that?
Yes.
So that would be just another building down closer to the intersection with Lake Street, correct?
Correct.
Now publish Exhibit 124.
Man, that mess look like it's on fast
In that image,
forward.
or in
Why
that
the
clip,
hell
did
was
we
he
just see the
driving so
Escalade
fast?
traveling down 2nd Avenue towards Lake Street?
Yes, we did.
He wasn't just speeding, he was doing like 100 something. He looked like Cartman.
Now publishing Exhibit 125, another image from Savory Properties. In this video clip, Sergeant Geiger, do we see the McDonald's on the right of the screen, as well as the actual intersection of 2nd Avenue South and East Lake Street?
Yes, we do.
And are we going to see the crash itself on this video clip?
Yes, you'll see the crash occur towards the left center bottom part of the screen in the intersection.
As we watch this video, are you
The
able to
absence
see
of evidence is not the
significant
evidence. The absence.
vehicle and
What?
pedestrian travel through the area?
Yes, I see lots of vehicle and pedestrian traffic, which is typical for that time of the night in that area.
And as you observe the traffic lights at both sides of the intersection, do they appear to be functioning properly?
Yes, they do.
Sergeant, in that video clip, Exhibit 125, did we see the crash itself occur?
Yes, we did.
And just prior to that crash, did you observe the
Well, I guess they decided to skip it themselves. I didn't do that. It skipped itself. AI must be working with me. Appreciate you, family.
driving behavior of the Honda Civic?
Yes.
Did it appear to be traveling according to the posted speed limit in the area?
Yes, it appeared to be traveling the same speed and like all the other vehicles that were before it.
Did it appear to enter the intersection on a green light?
Yes, entered the intersection on a green traffic signal.
Did the Cadillac Escalade appear to be moving at a very high rate of speed?
It was moving at an extremely high rate of speed for the speed limits in that area.
And did it enter the intersection against a red light?
Yes, it did.
You said that you also watched some Metro Transit video, is that correct?
That is correct.
And these video clips that we're about to see, exhibits 132 and 133, do they show the patterns, the cycling of the traffic lights at the intersection?
Yes, what you can see for the lights, they do show the traffic signals.
And do they also show the crash itself, but from a different angle?
Yes, these are both taken from the bus station, or the bus stops underneath the freeway 35W.
And the timestamp here at the bottom indicates that the video is beginning at 10:10 and 1 second p.m. Is that right?
That is correct.
I'll play that now.
I skipped it that time. I don't want to show that. But they do have the footage for those who want to see it.
This would just be from the other side of the bus stop at Lake Street?
Yes, this would be taken from the north side or the westbound traffic lane.
And essentially we are underneath the 35W overpass right now, looking towards the intersection with 2nd Avenue. Is that right?
That is correct.
Again, from this angle, are you able to see the traffic lights at this specific intersection where the crash occurred?
Yes, you can see the eastbound traffic signals.
And it appears to be functioning properly?
Yes, they do.
Do we also see a pedestrian walking down the road towards the camera at this point in time?
Yes.
And again, that wouldn't be unusual given that this was a bus stop?
Correct, that's not unusual in this area.
Did we just see the crash occur moments ago?
Yes, we did.
And again, you can see from this angle that the light on Lake Street is green, correct?
Correct.
Thank you, Your Honor. We can take down the screen now. Sergeant, you also testified previously that you were able to review the squad camera video from Trooper Guerra. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And in that video, were you able to see what color the light was on northbound 2nd Avenue at the intersection with Lake Street when the Escalade entered the intersection?
Yes, I could.
What color was it?
That was to be red.
Now I want to move on from the video review work that you did. Did you conduct any forensic mapping of the area?
Yes, map the roadway of 2nd Avenue and the crash evidence.
What is forensic mapping?
Forensic mapping is when we use either our drones or forensic mapping equipment similar to surveyors equipment, and we map the evidence at the roadway and the intersection or road design.
And what specifically do you do with the tools to be able to map it out forensically?
So with the drones, we fly a pre-positioned flight pattern over the roadway with overlapping photographs. We put that into photogrammetry software to get a scale diagram rendered. And if we're using our surveying type equipment, we have, through that equipment, we use a total station that...
The absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence.
Boys say they got them drones on deck. They got them drones on deck. Big shout out to Cha Diggy and FFS. Back to back with the memberships. I see a 5 here, 5 here. I don't know why my chat is just working by itself. I'm looking for a setting to take it off because they just popping up everything. It's only supposed to be the super chats. But anyway, show some love to Cha Diggy. Drop the Black Force ones. Show her some love. Appreciate you, family. Dropping the 5 on it. FFS dropping the 5 on it. Appreciate y'all. Let me see. Where the 5 on it? Y'all show them some love in the chat. Appreciate the love. We definitely getting up there. Definitely. Oh, it's frozen. Damn, got me. Got him. The hell? That's crazy. Anyway, y'all show her some love. Appreciate y'all, family. I'll drop a bomb for you. Let's get it. Officer Cartman on the stand.
Shoots infrared laser to a prism. It's attached to a pole. Then I have a data collector, and I'll put in whatever point is in there, like if it's a gouge or a tire mark or a vehicle or a curb. I'll put that point in, and then wherever that prism is positioned, we'll grab that point. That also helps us with diagramming and documenting evidence at night and issues we can't use the drones.
So is this all data that you collect and you use in your overall calculations for speed and other factors like that?
Yes, we use this data to determine our pre and post impact angles and also speeds of the vehicles.
Are you also able to get any data from the vehicles themselves to learn more about what could have caused or led to the crash?
Yes, we can.
Do all vehicles contain that type of data?
Most vehicles operated in the U.S. market do contain data.
And what kind of data do they typically include?
Through that data, it would be speed, brake on or off, ABS activity, crash pulses, steering, ABS activity. And the more newer vehicles, the more data we'll get.
Where is all this data stored in a vehicle?
It's stored in sensing diagnostic module, airbag control module. Some of the newer vehicles have active safety control modules, front camera modules, and more.
Are all of these modules what people sometimes refer to as like a black box?
Yes, similar concept to a black box in an airplane, but for your vehicle.
Are the modules always in the same place in every car?
They're generally in the same general locations of the vehicle.
How do you go about retrieving data from a module inside of a vehicle?
Modules inside the vehicle, I can plug our software into it's called the OBD2 port, or you have the check engine light, and your mechanic plugs into your car and tell you what's wrong with the car. I can plug into that same port and image the module that way. If we can't get that image that way, we can remove the module and put a specific cable to the module and then image it that way as well.
Is there a specific module referred to as the airbag control module?
Yes.
Were you able to retrieve the airbag control module data from either of the vehicles involved in this crash?
Yes, I was able to retrieve the data from both the Honda and the Cadillac from the airbag control module.
Is there also a module called the active safety control module?
Yes.
And were you able to retrieve data from that module for either of the vehicles involved in the crash?
Yes, that specific module is just in the Cadillac. We were able to retrieve the data from that module as well.
And was that with the assistance of Sergeant Brum?
Yes, it was.
And what did he have to do to get that that data in this instance?
The active.
Fonnie says send her thanks to the office. Appreciate it for the memberships. I'll take some Fonnie memberships. We appreciate that. Shout out to FFS and Chaw Diggy. Appreciate y'all.
See at the control module, he was unable to image it from the vehicle. So he removed the module. And then I went to a dealership that was close to our office. And we put that module into an exemplar or a similar vehicle. In this case, it was a GMC Yukon. And we plugged my module into that computer system of that vehicle and we're able to image the module that way.
So you were able to collect this data and use it in the calculations and the conclusions of your crash reconstruction?
Yes.
Did you also conduct a post-crash vehicle inspection on both the Honda Civic and the Cadillac Escalade involved in the crash?
Yes.
What's involved in this type of inspection?
What I'm doing is I'm looking at the vehicle, documenting the damage to the vehicle, airbags, tires, seatbelt usage, or the airbags, what airbags deployed or didn't deploy. Then we look at the overall vehicle, seeing if we can determine if damage is pre or post impact, and if there's any obvious mechanical issues with the vehicle.
Did you observe any mechanical defects that could have contributed to the crash in this case?
No.
Nothing in either of the two vehicles?
Correct, nothing in either two vehicles.
Did you make any efforts to determine whether or not there was an active safety recall for either of the vehicles?
Yes.
What did you do?
I run the VINs through Carfax, get the Carfax report to see if the vehicles are involved in any previous collisions, and if any recall or manufacturer's issues were noted to Carfax.
And did you learn of any information that could have contributed to this crash?
I determined that both vehicles had no active recalls at the time, and the Cadillac had an active manufacturer's message about a trailer towing brake, but wouldn't have been a factor in this crash because it wasn't towing a trailer.
So there was a recall on the Escalade, but it only would have affected the vehicle if it had been towing something?
Correct, it had been something with the trailer brakes on that vehicle, that system.
Your Honor, permission to publish Exhibit 111 has been accepted.
No objection.
You may.
Thank you, Your Honor. Sergeant, reviewing Exhibit 111 right now, does this appear to be the Cadillac Escalade involved in this crash?
Yes, this would be a front picture of the damage to the Cadillac Escalade.
Did you take this photograph as a part of your post-crash inspection?
Yes.
Ah, damn, how the hell he get right up out of there and just jump out the car though? That's crazy. Look at how damaged that is. I mean, he was walking and limping, so he wasn't that good. He was bruised and bleeding from his head, but still, how was he gone before the police got there and the police was right behind him?
And what specifically can we note about the vehicle damage that's seen here?
It's mostly to the front end of the vehicle, the whole front end pushed rearward towards the passenger compartment.
And is this type of damage consistent with the type of crash that you observed in the video?
Yes, it was.
Exhibit 112, what are we seeing in this image?
Looking at the passenger rear corner of the Cadillac.
And what can you tell us about the damage visible in this photo?
You can see that the passenger rear wheel assembly is damaged. There's damage to the entire side and the back of the vehicle, and that the back passenger corner is pressed downward, indicating that the vehicle did roll after impact.
Moving to Exhibit 113, is this a photograph of the Honda Civic taken at the crash scene itself?
Yes, it is.
And what can...
Passenger compartment.
Sure. All right, thank you. Just wanted to give that warning.
My bad, I had to fast forward that part. What the hell was that? The other picture didn't look like that though. The other picture from the other side, it was black, but that was crazy red. So this is the cop that was behind him. There you go, right there, passing right now. So he seen him. He over here hiding behind the underpass, and this is when he about to start following him.
Lady Justice is blind. Everybody can get it.
Funny who said the clip ain't working till I get here. Huh? Bonnie said it ain't working till I get here.
Lady Justice is blind. Everybody can get it.
I guess if you I disregard actually this
What the fanny?
Can you face stop or exit Lake Street? Oh God. Not stopping. Didn't light them up. Oh, crash. Alright, we are Lake Street. Never light up. Start fire, start medics. East Lake Street.
East Lake Street, start fire.
Trooper Garrett, at the second half of that video, when the audio kicks on, are you able to hear yourself communicating with dispatch there?
Yes.
And what information were you conveying to dispatch about what was happening?
The violator was continuing to drive in a extremely dangerous manner, exiting into a residential area where it's heavily populated, not slowing down. Wouldn't be able to get a stopping.
I want to ask you about that in particular. Toward the end of the video, I heard something about a stop. Were you indicating that that vehicle was stopping, or that you were not going to stop it?
The vehicle wasn't stopping. I wasn't going to stop it.
Okay, and why not?
Due to the unsafe manner.
Obviously, the video, especially with some headlights, can make it kind of hard to, I guess, perceive vehicles in front of you. You, in your squad car that evening, were you able to see the SUV for that entire time, or did you lose sight of it at any point?
On the interstate, while trying to catch up, yeah, don't have sight of it 100%, so that's why I was contacting dispatch to try to get those DOT cameras get it located while I'm trying to catch up.
All right. And if I could, beginning at about 1 minute 39 seconds in, if I may play just a portion here to ask you one other question.
Not stopping. Didn't light them up. Oh, crash. Alright, we are Lake Street. Never light up. Start fire, start medics. East Lake Street.
East Lake Street, start fire.
So for the record, stopping at about 1:58. As you approached the light here at Lake Street, did you slow your squad down?
Yes.
Or, I guess, hesitate to go into the intersection?
Yeah, I had to clear the intersection first.
What does that mean?
So we don't have the right of way even with our lights and sirens, just so that...
The evidence is not the evidence.
What? They don't have the right of way even with the lights and sirens. Yo, big shout out to Fannie Willis. We appreciate you, family. Let me scoot your name up a little bit because we can't see your name. Shout out to Fannie Willis with the 5 gifted. Y'all show her some love. She don't have no emoji, but she do. You can drop her some slime umbrellas. And actually, Fannie Willis, I got a show about you coming this Saturday. So if y'all want to see the most recent updates on Fannie Willis, y'all tune in this Saturday around 6 or 7 o'clock. I'm not sure which one yet, but we will be covering Fannie Willis. So it's gonna be a good one. What up, Miss D? I see you. Cha Diggy in the building. Stacy Sibbett, appreciate you joining, family. Late Night Bacon with Mookie. FFS over here killing it in the chat. Appreciate you, family. Chloe Irish Revenge. What up, though? Tat Clouds, I see you. Appreciate you. Y'all show some love. And show some love for the stream sponsors. Do that for me, please. All right, let's get back into it.
Clear the intersection.
Okay, and clear means?
Proceed in a safe manner, make sure no other cars crash into other cars.
All right, clear just isn't a verb that everybody uses, so I wanted to clarify that. You had the red light there. Once you cleared the intersection, I guess noted that you could. Did you proceed through and was the crash on the other side?
Lady Justice is blind.
Yes.
Everybody can get
As you were observing the vehicle after it got off on the exit, were you able to see it encounter both of those lights at, I think, 31st and then Lake?
Say that again.
Were you able to see that the vehicle as it encountered the stoplights at both 31st and Lake?
Yes.
And were you able to see
That's right. Drop the Chai Diggy emojis. Appreciate you, family.
whether they were
What
red
up,
or
Miss
green?
D?
Yes.
Okay, and in terms of that first stoplight, what was it?
Tap, tap, tap.
2nd Avenue and 31st was green.
And what, if anything, did you, how about the second light? Sorry.
2nd Avenue, Lake Street, red.
Okay. And what, if anything, did you observe about the vehicle's speed as it was coming down the exit ramp and onto 2nd?
Significantly faster than the posted speed limit.
So the next thing I want to ask you about is body camera, to kind of pick up here. In addition to squad videos, do state troopers wear body camera recording devices on their uniforms?
Yes.
About where is it situated on your uniform?
Center mass, right in the chest.
Middle of your chest?
Yes.
Okay. In general, when and how are those activated?
When we activate it personally by pressing it with our hand or through the activation of our squad lights.
Okay. So even if you aren't hitting it to turn it on, but your squad lights go on, it's going to go on?
So this is the one that was behind them.
Correct. Or unholstering firearm.
Sure. Okay. In this particular situation, in addition to squad videos, there are also body camera from your the body camera that was on your chest.
Sweetie, hey, I got the new Sweetie. Chat prompt coming too. I got it all together. I just got to connect it. Coming soon. We should have that ready Saturday.
Yes.
And at some point after June 16th of 2023, have you had a chance to watch the body camera that was recorded from your camera?
Yes.
Did that body camera capture, to the extent that it's able, what happened on this scene?
Yes.
How are body cameras' ability to capture, how would you compare that to a person's ability to perceive what's happening around them? What are the differences?
Sure. Body camera footage captures the general incident, but can't capture every single fine detail or the totality of the incident.
When you're sitting in your squad, is your body cam at the same height as your eyes? Might seem like a dumb question, but
No.
okay. And so as this video begins, are we going to see basically your steering wheel?
Correct.
Okay. And have you? I think I already asked you about whether you've had a chance to look at it. The body camera recording appeared.
It wasn't a shooting. He hit 5 women in their car, or 5 females, 5 women. I don't know what's the proper term these days, but yeah, he hit them in their car. It was a car crash, not a shooting.
Accurate, is that right?
Yes.
And Your Honor, I've marked that.
And it was
clip of the body camera.
It was 2023. It was the end of 2023.
From Trooper Garrett as Exhibit 5, and I would move to admit it now.
No objection.
Exhibit 5 is received.
May I publish?
You may.
But he's in trial right now. The trial was today, has been going on right now.
Where'd he go? What? Hey, they took off on the alleyway northbound. Sorry, Mike, sir. We got a confirmed 5-4 here. Suspect fled northbound. Suspect's vehicle is John Paul Robert, 235 T-bone at the intersection. Hey, northbound, I think through the alley here, right? What's he wearing? I have no idea. What's he wearing? Hey, what's he wearing? What's he wearing? What's your gray sweater? Yeah, white or gray sweater. Is it black male? White male, black male? Hey, stay away, stay away.
The absence of evidence.
And this is where the burdens of proof in a case become important. You aren't to consider things outside of these instructions. A vote of not guilty on a count is simply a statement that the state hasn't met its burden of proof and is required under the law. And ladies and gentlemen, we have to ask more for our government. We have to ask more of the agents who get up and testify and lie to the faces of jurors. The state has simply not investigated the case. The state simply has not eliminated doubt as to the guilt of Derrick Thompson as the driver of this vehicle. This car rolls twice and spins around. Officer Lignell, in his cuter-than-half testimony, acted like he didn't even know if the car spun around. Officer Lignell, in his cuter-than-half testimony, acted like he didn't even know if the car spun around. And yet he's the head case agent for this entire thing. It's an outrage. And my client should be found not guilty of all charges. But no matter what, whoever is driving that car was not acting in a depraved way. Whoever is driving that car was a knucklehead and a danger and a reckless person.
But we know
ladies and
driving.
gentlemen, they simply...
Yo, he was definitely working with the state. He up here took this boy money and act like he was fighting for him, but it was making him look bad. That's not his opening, that's his closing. We gonna close out with that. We ain't gonna do it all right now. I just wanted to give you a little taste of what's coming up. But yo, this dude was horrible. Horrible.
Were not acting with a depraved mind. They were not acting without regard to human life. They were trying to stop. They were frail.
I mean, I guess it wasn't much you could say.
They were
though.
not indifferent to the loss of life. You must return not guilty verdicts on the murder charges. Thank you.
Our network of life.
All right, so yeah. Before we get into the Killian, let me see, where's that comment at? FFS said a mass shooter named Killian is crazy. Here we go. Wild as fuck. That's a fact. So this is where we about to get into that. And it's crazy how this part is gonna get a little glitchy with this officer talking, because you know it's I don't know. This is strange to me. I ain't gonna say too much right now because I want you to kind of be your own judge of it. But it's kind of crazy of this whole little case right here. So we're gonna get into a little bit of Killian, and then we're gonna come back and finish off with Derrick. Appreciate y'all being here once again. And before we get into all that, well, what up, family? Thanks again for being here. I hope you all are feeling the energy, absorbing those truths we just laid down, and definitely got more coming. But before we dive back in, I gotta be real with you for a second. This is a big moment for Flesh of the Gods. Your support right now is more crucial than ever. Seriously, every bit you give, it goes straight to us leveling up. We're talking about new programs, better tech, everything we need to make this show even more impactful. Why now? Because we're gearing up for something massive. That's right, family, the first ever AAI, Algorithmic Achievement Impact Awards. But to light this show on fire and make it a truly mind-blowing experience like it's supposed to be, we need your help to get the resources in place. This isn't just a show, it's a statement, and we want to make it legendary. So how about I give you a taste of what your support makes possible? Check this out. We're building out some wild new ways for you to connect. Now, we all know this is the most interactive live around in these YouTube streets. This vision, this future, it needs your help to manifest. So please, if you're feeling the call, throw your support behind us. Every dollar makes a difference. It's an investment in the truth, in the growth, and into our overall shared journey, family. Also, this includes new chat prompts and a couple new things that I got under my sleeve. But anyway, I'm asking you to help us make this AAI Awards show the most unforgettable and help us to keep pushing boundaries of what's possible here on Flesh of the Gods. We're in this together. Thanks in advance, family. The Cash App and PayPal donation links are right here, and if you could help, it will be greatly appreciated. You could also help just by hitting that like button or that subscribe button. Thank you all in advance. Much love, family. Now let's get back to the show.
These nuts. Got him. Got him.
Just a hot mess.
License plate read.
Shout out to Chanmar Black is Golden. What up, family? Much love, much love. The queen, the flesh of the gods queen. Let's get into it.
To confirm that the vehicle was in fact in Brookhaven in the area of Northcliffe Valley Way. Officers requested the assistance of our drone first responder program, which launched and a drone was dispatched and flew to the area of Northcliffe Valley Way. Within a minute of launching, the drone pilot was able to observe the suspect vehicle in an apartment complex in the 3100 block of Buford Highway. The drone pilot watched and observed as two suspects exited that vehicle and entered into a Hyundai passenger car, where the two suspects began to attempt to steal that vehicle. As officers on the ground were responding and converging on the area, they began to enter the complex, which prompted the two suspects at the Hyundai car and re-enter the Nissan Rogue. The Nissan Rogue then began to flee out of the complex, and our officers initiated a pursuit of that vehicle. The chase went through Brookhaven and onto I-85 southbound towards the city of Atlanta, where we discontinued that pursuit. Shortly thereafter, after discontinuing the pursuit, we were notified that that suspect vehicle was in fact stolen in a shooting earlier that morning in unincorporated DeKalb County. Using the shared resources of our agency, including our regional network of license plate readers and video cameras, law enforcement agencies from across our area coordinated efforts to track the vehicle county. At approximately 1:01 p.m., DeKalb PD briefly encountered the vehicle and initiated a pursuit. That pursuit ended shortly thereafter, and at approximately 1:22 p.m., our license plate readers alerted us that the vehicle was entering the city of Dunwoody on Ashford-Dunwoody Road. Dunwoody PD attempted a traffic stop, which led to a multi-jurisdictional pursuit involving Sandy Springs Police, Gwinnett Police, and Georgia State Patrol. The pursuit ended when the suspect vehicle crashed into a median wall on Peachtree Industrial Boulevard at I-285. Officers from multiple jurisdictions took off by the suspects 40 at this time. One suspect was 17-year-old Octavio Alexander Luviano. He was charged with criminal attempt to commit felony theft of motor vehicle. The other two suspects were both 15 years of age. One 15-year-old male was charged with minor possession of a pistol, possession of a weapon during the commission of a crime, entering auto, theft by receiving stolen property, loitering or prowling. The other 15-year-old male suspect was charged with possession of a weapon during the commission of a felony, entering auto, theft by receiving stolen property, loitering or prowling, speeding, reckless driving, driving while unlicensed, disobedience of a traffic control device, and a signal required when turning. While we're proud of the collaboration and technology that allowed us to safely apprehend these suspects, this incident highlights a growing and concerning trend that we're faced with in Metro Atlanta and across the nation. The rise in serious crimes committed by juveniles, to include vehicle theft, armed robberies, and shootings. Many times we're seeing young people that are involved in high-risk, dangerous criminal behavior. Too many times they're involving firearms. This is not just a law enforcement problem that we should be expected to address, but a larger societal crisis. And we should lean on our families, our schools, courts, community.
We come to you tonight at 11 with breaking news. In just the last few hours, the Catawba County Sheriff's Office says it has arrested 2 more suspects in that mass shooting at that pool party that left 1 person dead and 11 others hurt.
And deputies are telling us that the first 2 men you see on the left side of the screen, Raekwon Craig, Patrick Tolbert.
Keep the love going for FFS. Appreciate you, family. We about to get into it. Hey, look, watch when I go back to this other screen. Why are they making it like cutting off old boy face, GARON KILLIAN, and mainly showing all the other people like it's all about them? But I don't know. Let me see. Let me know what y'all think. Shout out to FFS. Appreciate you, family.
They're now in police custody charged with aiding and abetting. That is connected to underage drinking, which police say happened at the party.
Meantime, the sheriff's office tells us Keandre Mack and Tolan Huff are still wanted tonight on charges of attempted first-degree murder. And there's this. We shared this with you earlier today. The first suspect arrested in this case, 20-year-old GARON Killian, made his first court appearance where a judge granted him a $200,000 bond and placed him on electronic monitoring. That decision left law enforcement outraged, saying that's not enough.
I am outraged. The first suspect we arrested in connection with this mass shooting was given a $200,000 bond. It is beyond frustrating that someone with pending charges for multiple counts of attempted murder is out in the community in the first place. It is unimaginable that this same person can then be charged with additional charges from a separate incident to include attempted murder.
So he was already out on bond for attempted murder for shooting at seven charges that had something to do with attempted murder. And then they gave him another $200,000 bond, and then he was also on a hill like a sniper. But I don't know, it's kind of confusing because they hiding some of this stuff, so it's hard to understand exactly what all they saying. But we gonna get into it.
WCNC Charlotte Siobhan Riley picks up our coverage tonight.
Along with all of the other injured parties, we've received questions, and they're understandable questions, about why we have not charged someone in the homicide yet. Again, we have to be able to account for every shot, the shooter, and the intended recipients and the actual recipients of those shots before we can discern who might be responsible for the homicide in this situation. I'll be back later for your questions.
Destined to be, what up, family?
Good afternoon. Special Agent in Charge Porter with North Carolina Alcohol Law Enforcement. We are announcing today that
Miss DB gifted the membership, saying thank you to FFS. Shout out to y'all. Appreciate y'all.
arrest warrants have been obtained for 2 individuals. They are the individuals believed to be responsible for organizing and hosting the party. The first one is for Mr. Raekwon Craig. He's been charged with 3 counts of aiding and abetting underage possession of alcohol. Sorry. All right.
There you go, sorry.
Can you see that one? And the other arrest warrant, similar for Mr. Patrick Tolbert. Same 3 charges of aiding and abetting.
Look, they got that one ready, but they don't got the other one ready, huh?
You can get that too.
Oh.
But it's
wonder why. I wonder why we gonna make it like it's about this now, huh? About what? Y'all tell me what I'm talking about.
the same charges, 3 counts of aiding and abetting underage possession of alcohol by a person over the age of 21. I'll keep my comments brief, and then I can answer any questions at the end.
What happened to the other picture, though?
Article, I'm the Special Agent in Charge of the Federal Bureau of Investigation here in North Carolina.
We were, but we know that there were numerous underage and several juveniles as well. Yes, ma'am.
Is Patrick Tolbert considered a resident of the 1125 on the district?
That is one that I will defer to Major Turk in the Sheriff's Office for right now. Yes, sir.
Could you please tell us how many people were shot?
I will also defer that to Major Turk.
He answers the alcohol-related questions and the party promotion questions, sir.
Yes, sir.
And on the party promotion, and what do we know about that party? Where was it promoted? Who was the target audience?
So it seems that those details are still coming in, but that a lot of this is shared on social media, and that these move around. And a reason that we try to address these is that they are a common cause for violence like this. Just in this year alone, since January, we've investigated 9 such events where an organizer or promoter has coordinated an illegal alcohol event. And in most of those, ALE agents have uncovered alcohol violations, but also other serious criminal activity like narcotics and firearms. So we're very happy to work with Sheriff here and all the other partners to hopefully be able to prevent some of these things. Yes, sir.
Do we believe that the homeowners or their owners' property receive payment for compensation of some sort to those 2 parties?
We're still working to figure that out right now. Yes, ma'am.
Those who were charged for this underage drinking, have they been arrested yet?
The 2 that I announced there, no, their arrest warrants are active, and we're seeking them at this time.
So as of right now, Killian's the only one arrested, right?
I'll let the Major confirm that.
And do you believe that anybody else is responsible for promotion, or is it the
What up, Destined to Be?
Charged.
And shout out to FFS with another gifted membership. Appreciate you, family. And they still got this other picture on the screen. Like, they making it all about this alcohol underage party. But come on, man, this dude mass shot up the party.
We are certainly pursuing that to try to get anybody that is involved and responsible. Those 2 arrest warrants have been issued due to the facts that we believe allege their involvement in it.
Now, do you believe Mr. Hood was all responsible for raising
We're still working to figure that out, and I'll refer it back to Major Turk. Thank you.
Party promotion question, do people pay to get into the party?
We're trying to figure that out. Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
All right, who hadn't asked a question yet? Anybody that hadn't got, yes, sir?
Could you tell us, Major, how many people were shot?
We have, I believe, 8 to 10 confirmed.
So look, now you see the picture, Patrick. Now it's popping up. That was supposed to be popping up with the first black guy that they showed. Now they finally got his picture up, and they ain't even talking about it no more.
Persons that suffered gunshots, and then others that were injured, perhaps they were fleeing or otherwise there during the gunfire, but not actually suffering gunshots. Yes, sir.
Are any of those injured still in the hospital currently?
I don't have that information as I'm up here right now. All right, that's going to be it for questions. Thank you.
Barnacle. I'm the special agent in charge here in North Carolina FBI office.
It's the agent in charge, Agent Barnacle. Agent Barnacle in charge of the FBI out there. So this is one of the earlier statements before what we just watched. This is like the press conference outside right after the shooting.
The people of North Carolina should be able to enjoy a spring evening. Unfortunately, violent crime came to the countryside here. It impacts people all over the United States. The FBI's #1 priority is to crush violent crime. Whether we are doing that in partnership, as we are doing here, supporting our local partners, Catawba Sheriff's Office and the State Bureau of Investigation, or the FBI when we lead investigations, make no mistake, we will mitigate the violent crime problem here in the United States, in particular North Carolina. What we're doing in this particular situation is we are supporting this investigation. We are bringing resources. We have victim services specialists meeting with victims of the shooting last night. They are at the hospitals meeting with victims. We have FBI special agents helping with leads, investigations, and processing the crime scene. We have evidence response teams. They are here on site as well, and they are taking pictures. They are looking at trajectories of bullets, and they're helping to collect the evidence that's on scene. Also, the FBI is setting up a tips line, a digital tips line. Anyone that was at this party should go to the FBI.gov website, and there will be a digital tips line shortly. We're going to do a press release as well that will have that information for you all. Anyone has any information, anyone that was here last night, should call 911 or call the FBI at 1-800-CALL-FBI. We'll take questions later, but I'd like to turn it over to the Special Agent in charge of the State Bureau of Investigation.
Good afternoon. My name is Angie Gibbs, Special Agent in charge of the SBI. I'm out of the Hickory District Office, Northwestern District. Our agency was requested by the Catawba County Sheriff's Office. We are providing crime scene assistance, investigative assistance as far as interviews. We've had our intel folks step up and provide assistance with that as well. We're continuing to help with this case as far as assisting local, state, federal agencies. Like it's already said before, you know, we're here until we can figure out who done this. So if anybody has any information they'd like to pass along, there'll be some resources at the end that you guys can reach out to. Thank you.
Enforcement agencies say this is one of the toughest investigations they've dealt with in their career, and they fear the amount of GARON KILLIAN's bond could put the community at risk.
Still an active scene days after a massive shooting at a pool party advertised on social media where more than 80 shots were fired over the weekend on Walnut Acres Drive. People in Catawba County say they're frustrated to learn 20-year-old GARON KILLIAN's bond is only $200,000. Everyone
$200,000 for the bond.
is just, weekend on Walnut Acres Drive. People in Catawba County say they're frustrated to learn 20-year-old GARON KILLIAN's bond is only $200,000.
And so this is after he was already out on bond. He did the shooting while he was out on bond, and then he got another bond for $200,000. For $20,000, he about to be right back out on the streets, so he could do it again.
$1,000. Everyone is just, in shock. I mean, you can't really go anywhere or do anything anymore out of fear that something might happen. Anita Flynn was in court on a separate case Wednesday and witnessed Killian appear in front of a judge. It's terrible to me that bond is just set way too low, in my opinion.
Were there defendant charged with any of the following
We previously reported GARON.
But y'all remember all the bond cases that we watched, like the Young Thug trial? They denied every one of them bond and didn't even have none of them for crimes. He got 7 attempted murders and was out on bond, then came and shot at another 11 people, but they not even charging him with murder or attempted murder. They keeping it under the wraps, and then they still giving him another bond. What kind of shit is that? It's a difference between blue eyes and brown eyes, I guess, huh?
Killian and another person was arrested back in April for shooting into a crowd in a parking lot near a Chuck E. Cheese franchise. Catawba County Sheriff Don Brown told media during a press conference he's outraged.
I believe he should have never been back on the street after Hickory Police Department charged him with those crimes. He bonded out of jail on April 14th. 48 days later, all of our lives changed. This is frustrating. It's infuriating.
Investigators have a long road ahead. They are still looking for another gunman in this case. Challen Huff Jr. is facing 1 count of first-degree attempted murder. Investigators believe Huff may have also been connected to the shooting in April as well.
I don't know what he did, but I think he might have been shooting back. But that's my own assumption. Like, when the old boy started shooting the party, I think he might have tried to shoot back at him, but I'm not sure because they don't say.
19-year-old Keandre O'Neal Mack has also been charged with 1 count of attempted first-degree murder.
We are regularly asked by our community members, why should they come forward with information about crimes being committed if the person is just going to be back in the neighborhood? And in cases like this one, it leaves me with no answer.
Shooting was given a $200,000 bond.
Well, we start with breaking news right now. So top law enforcement officials are voicing their frustrations about a judge granting bond to this person right here, 20-year-old, the shooting suspect, GARON Killian. He appeared in court this morning, as you're seeing the video there. Authorities say Killian was already out on bond for another shooting case when he opened fire on the pool party. Well, Queen City News anchor Robin Kennedy live right now outside the Catawba County Courthouse. Robin's investigators right now.
Exactly. See, he opened fire on the pool party. So it was him shooting up the damn pool party. And it was 11 people hit.
Also naming another shooting suspect that they're searching for tonight.
That's exactly right, Alicia. Investigators believe multiple people, including the person they are searching for, are responsible for what they call an unprovoked attack, where they say the accused shooters were up on a hillside in a neighbor's yard and just shooting down, firing into that crowd of people gathered in that party at the Mountain View area in the community.
So they saying shooters, so it's a possibility that he might have been with them too. This dude right here might have been up there on the hill with him. They ain't caught him yet, but it might have been 2 of them actually shooting. So I don't know for sure, but I think he might have been shooting back, but I'm not sure. So
there early Sunday morning in Catawba County. Right now, detectives are searching for this person, Challen Huff Jr. He has a warrant.
And this is all recent. This is all happening like very recent, like the past couple days, whatever.
Out for his arrest for attempted first-degree murder. He is not in custody right now.
His trial date right here is what I'm talking about.
While GARON Killian, as you mentioned, who's also charged with attempted murder in the mass shooting, where more than 80 shots were fired and 12 people injured, went before a judge this morning where he was given a $200,000 bond. Now, this is not the first time that Killian faced similar charges. Back in April, he was arrested and charged with 7 counts of attempted murder for shooting into a crowd in Hickory. At first, the judge in that case did not give him bond, but then a week later, he got out of jail by posting a $100,000 bond. Corey.
Hold on. She said the judge did not give him bond, which means he denied bond, but then a week later he was out on bond? How the hell that happened?
At first, the judge in that case did not give him bond, but then a week later he got out of jail by posting a $100,000 bond.
He bonded out of jail on April 14th. 48 days later, all of our lives changed. This is frustrating. It's infuriating.
Now, the North Carolina Alcohol Law Enforcement Division has also charged 2 people for what they say was aiding and abetting underage drinking.
Garon Killian was in court today. This is a look at that very brief hearing where the bond was set for $200,000.
$200,000 for that bond for Killian. If he is convicted on the right now of attempted first-degree murder, he faces a maximum of 40 years in prison. Now, this is important to note that
200,000 for first-degree murder. But you seen what YNW Melly all them time trying to get his bond. You seen Young Thug try to get bond, the whole YSL, all of them. If you already know, family. You already know what I'm saying. We see it right here in front of our faces, but they just act like ain't nothing to talk about. If you talk about it, then we ain't gonna share it. We ain't gonna promote it. We gonna stop your views.
this was just a pretrial bond hearing, right? That was mostly the discussion about was whether or not he would be eligible to post bond. And the judge asked him very specifically at this time, or at the time that you were accused of committing this shooting, were you out on probation? At that point, he said no. However, attorneys for the state, they interjected, made it very clear to the judge that he was on pretrial release for a shooting in Hickory that was back in April. Now, at that point, Killian was charged for 7 counts of attempted first.
What up, FFS? What's your question, family?
Murder and several other counts of assault with a deadly weapon. That has not come to trial just yet, but he had been released on bond. Again, that was a shooting in April in Hickory. As far as the shooting that he's connected to this latest time, this is in Catawba County, just outside of Hickory limits. On Sunday, shots started going off around 12:45 in the morning at a pool party. Officials tell us now they estimate that between 80 to 100 people were there, 11 people injured either in that shooting or in the melee that followed after, people trying to get away from there. One person had died at the scene. We also learned here today in court that there were about 50 shots at least into the pool area and in towards the house. Officials tell us now that they believe that the shooting started actually up from a hill. The shooter was in an elevated position from the neighbor's backyard, shooting towards the people in the party. Again, they have not released.
She said the shooter, as in one, was up on the hill in an elevated position, like sniping, like mass shooting type shit. Like, we know what. Expedite his case and get him locked up ASAP. That's a fact.
A motive as of just yet. And they also say that they conducted several search warrants, carried all of those out on Tuesday. That led to one arrest, which involves Killian, and they say they anticipate several more arrests to come out of this case. Once again, this is a $200,000 bond. At this point, he would not be allowed, if he posts this bond, to have any weapons, any contact with any potential victims. And the state attorneys also asked for the judge to consider putting him on an electric monitoring system, setting a curfew for him anytime from 7 p.m. until 6 a.m., as well as surrendering his passport. Now, Killian said that he did not.
What? How, Sway? How, Sway? How they do that, Sway?
Have a passport at that time, but the judge said, again, this is something they'll check into and make sure that he would follow these conditions of the bond should he post it. Once again, not a trial hearing, so when the judge was asking him any questions, do you have anything to say about this potential bond? He said, it would be great if I got it, but I would understand if not. He also began to say, I apologize for my involvement in the situation, to which the judge cut him off and said, we're not here to talk about charges, we're not here to talk about what you're accused of, truly just bond. So we understand there's going to be more to come out of this much later.
The State Bureau of Investigation and FBI are assisting local authorities in Hickory trying to piece together what led to a weekend mass shooting at a house party and whoever is responsible for the bloodshed. One person was killed early Sunday in Bronx.
The absence of evidence is not the evidence.
Caroline Boyer shares with us this morning what investigators know so far and their plea for help.
I want everyone to know that we are going to work together tirelessly and diligently to identify the individuals responsible for this act.
A promise from Catawba County Sheriff Don Brown as his team, along with state and federal agencies, work to figure out what led up to a mass shooting at this home on Walnut Acres Drive.
1125 Walnut Acres Drive, cross street Huffman Farm Road.
Calling reporting at least one individual shot, possibly more.
That's one of the first calls that went out over the radio, alerting deputies to the shooting at a house party of teens and adults.
One gunshot wound to the chest. We've got one guy with a gunshot wound to the head or neck.
The number of victims quickly growing.
2 patients have been shot over the leg at the door of the front door. I've got a code red by the pool. I've got 5 total at this point.
Reaching a total of 12 people, some with gunshot wounds, others hurt while trying to outrun the gunfire.
I have a witness over here that has a fully automatic weapon.
Investigators say more than 80 shots were fired from multiple weapons.
This is not a common act or an incident that occurs here in Catawba County. We live in a great community, and this is something that is extremely rare.
The sheriff candidly says he doesn't know what started this, but it wasn't the first time deputies visited the house. They were there about an hour and 45 minutes before the shooting, responding to a noise complaint.
Our deputies responded to that complaint, addressed the controlling parties there at the residence about the noise, and left a short time later.
Catawba County deputies don't believe the noise complaint had anything to do with the violence. They've got the help of the state and federal bureaus of investigation to develop leads in the case, analyze the bullets, and help the victims. The FBI has set up a digital tip line at FBI.gov for anyone with videos or information to share. In Catawba County, Caroline Boyer, Queen City News.
The youngest victim, just 16 years old. We're also hearing reaction from people who live near the scene. Many of them say they heard the shots and the cries for help from people running away. Queen City News anchor Derrick Thompson spoke to a neighbor whose security video could become evidence in the case.
Around 12:45 Sunday morning, a neighbor's camera captured the sound of something peculiar. It's hard to make out, but there's no mistaking what it is. Gunshots from a nearby home.
Our dog just started barking, and I heard boom, 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 like somebody was banging on the door. I ran upstairs to investigate.
That video was from Michael Abernathy's dash cam, which caught the moments during and after the shooting on Walnut Acres Drive. He knew something had happened, but didn't put 2 and 2 together until hours later.
I heard the distinct sound of the audio of the gunshots about 12:45, so I could hear the gunshots.
Once he heard about 12 people being shot, one of them dead, from what happened nearby.
Have a good night. Have a good night. Have a motherfucking good ass night.
And so then I got up, and then all of a sudden there was more shooting, and there were 2 or 3 shots fired close here from apparently, I would guess, one car to another.
We know that in the moments after the shooting, people were running from the scene to escape the bullets. There were numerous reports of people running in the woods and even coming up to nearby homes in search of help. Deputies noting some of the injured were shot, the other injured while trying to escape the gunfire. Abernathy's camera also caught several cars speeding away just moments after the shots. Deputies so far haven't said much about the party where the shooting happened at or what led to the shots. They did note, though, that all that were shot ranged from the age of 16 to 58. What happened here still has many unanswered questions. The big one, though, is why.
Hopefully this is just a one-time occurrence. This is definitely a low-crime area, so I don't know what happened, but like I said, it's not something that's common here.
Again, that was Derrick Thompson reporting. Our Savannah Rudisell and Will Lewis.
And we do have a breaking news development here in the
Crazy. And then, but look, so with all that going on, we still know what they gonna make the main focus of the story, right? These kids having a party, and they were giving alcohol to these teens, and
Catawba County mass.
Which I'm not saying is right, so I'm not saying they should have been doing it, but I'm saying, like, why is that the focus of the story? Where's the information about what's going on? Y'all lying about y'all. He said they asked him what kind of guns was they shooting, or what kind of bullets was what kind of guns was they shooting, and they found over 80-something bullets, right? And then he said, I don't know. We're still trying to find that out. If you have any information, then let us know. How you gonna tell us to let you know what type of bullets there was, and y'all found over 80-something bullets? Make it make sense.
Shooting, deputies say they have arrested 2 men in connection with the underage party where the Sunday morning shooting took place. 21-year-old Raekwon Leka Craig and 22-year-old Patrick Tolbert are each facing 3 counts of aiding and abetting underage alcohol possession. And they are still looking for several other suspects tonight, including Keandre Mack, who is facing an attempted murder charge. Now, tonight's arrest comes after the first suspect is in custody. 20-year-old GARON Killian appeared before a judge today. Killian is in custody tonight, but a judge set his bond at $200,000. As Shakira Speaks reports, investigators are not happy with that amount and the possibility of the suspect back out on the streets.
Catawba County officials say Sunday's mass shooting investigation has been one of the most complex investigations.
And hold on. Check this out. Her name is Shakira Speaks. Shout out to Shakira Speaks. I think that's like a social media or like a influencer type name. Like they got them doing real news broadcasting out there right now, huh? I wonder who gonna be next. Give me my motherfucking credit.
That they've ever been a part of. The FBI was at Mountain View all of Wednesday working on bullet trajectories of at least 80 fired rounds. And now authorities have identified multiple suspects in connection to the shooting.
The investigation thus far has spanned over 6 counties.
Catawba County Sheriff Don Brown announced Wednesday 2 more suspects, Tolan Huff Jr. and Keandre O'Neal Mack, are wanted for attempted first-degree murder in the attack. On Tuesday, they arrested 20-year-old GARON KILLIAN, charging him with attempted murder in the mass shooting. Hickory police arrested Killian in April for another shooting, and he was released on bond. And on Wednesday, a judge set bond in this new case at $200,000.
It is unimaginable that this same person can then be charged with additional charges from a separate incident to include attempted murder and could be out in our community tonight.
On Wednesday, state alcohol officials arrested 2 men, Raekwon Craig and Patrick Tolbert, with 3 counts of promoting underage drinking. The FBI has been on scene for the last 4 days, recreating the shooting where gunmen fired dozens of shots.
Hey Mookie, I need that Boosie clip. Man, come on now, dog. Come on, dog. FFS with another one. Appreciate the love, family. FFS going crazy. You said, yeah, we doing that damn award show. I'm going to make sure.
The absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence.
What? Show some love. Drop some slime, brothers.
The shooting began from a neighboring yard that was an elevated position from the house where the crime scene is now being investigated.
Investigators say more shots were then fired around the home, in the front yard, and on Walnut Acres Drive. The shots injured several people, but 58-year-old Sean Hood lost his life.
We're working to discern if Mr. Hood was an intended target or just a victim that suffered his death during that tragedy. We do not know if this incident was a gang act in its entirety or that some of the people involved are affiliated in gangs. We're working that as a motive and then other possibilities.
Someone will be charged with murder, but officials want to make sure they have all of the facts before that happens. But they do expect more people to receive multiple charges. In Catawba County, Shakira Speaks, Queen City News.
Hey, yo, peace, family. Welcome back to Flesh of the God. Shout out to FFS. Appreciate you, family. Yeah, we got some new stuff coming.
I just want to be clear. Obviously,
getting
you see
into
kind
it.
of the first frame here of your body cam.
Yep.
That's not the very beginning of the recording, is
Correct.
it?
No. It is.
Okay. We've sort of gone to this relevant part. Where are you walking at this point?
Looks like we're walking south. Taco Bell's to the left here, and Officer Rage in front of me as well.
Okay. I'm playing now.
341-year-old, yeah, that's good. They're okay. 360-year-old, and they were okay.
You guys see me coming over here? Why are you bleeding? Why are you bleeding? Use your hands. Why are you bleeding?
So here we go. This is Derrick Thompson. This is the body cam footage of when the officer walked up on him and started questioning him.
This old, okay. It's old cut. Old cut? Looks pretty fresh. What's your name? Stand up. Turn around. Because you're bleeding. I'm bleeding. This is an old cut, bro. It looks pretty fresh to me. This is dried up blood, bro. Okay. All right, hey, listen. You got a white shirt, brown pants. White shirt, brown pants. We're just trying to make sure you're good. We're just trying to make sure you're good. What's your name? Derrick Thompson. Get your ID out.
East of 2nd on Lake, and we'll get a squad down there at 31st. Get that down.
Take a photo of this AD also.
8131, we're at 31st and 2nd. Got it closed.
You guys are good?
Oh, yeah, no, we're fine.
What's the status report?
We're at 310. 310.
He's got a fresh blood on you. You do have fresh blood on you, bro. Yeah, that's why I called you out. Oh, okay. You don't know how that happened? No, I slipped. I know that was a slip.
Where'd you fall and slip at?
I fell.
5th and Lake?
Alright, sounds good. Let's go ahead and get everybody that's not their fires for 3 inches. Alright, man. Yeah, you guys sure
White shirt, brown pants was the description.
State patrol guy over here.
Yeah, okay.
I'm good, bro.
Alright, bro, just relax. DeAndre, right?
Yeah, I'm good.
Alright, my name is Louis. My name is Louis.
All right, Chloe, appreciate you swinging by. Much love, much love.
So we're just gonna have some.
I've been here. I'm not good, bro.
You literally are sweating.
I know.
Blood on your face.
I just got harassed by the police. I just gave y'all my ID. I took a picture of me and everything.
I'm sorry. Can you just have a seat for me?
Yes, sir. I was sitting out there, sir. Y'all told me to stop.
Officer, unit.
So why are you
I told you, I busted my shit right there on 5th against that lake. At the end, I don't. Literally. Was I running? No.
11 states requested J9 as late seconds.
So, I guess, well, how did you bust your face?
I tripped over a fucking log like this right there behind it. I don't know how fucking spike and stuff like this. I tripped over it and I fucking fell.
Did he say he tripped over a log and bust his face? What the hell, Bobby?
I guess, well, how did you bust your face?
I tripped over a fucking log like this right there behind it. I don't know how fucking spike and stuff like this. I tripped over it and I fucking fell. I'm gonna have the same patrol guy come.
Okay. We're just double checking.
Yeah, there's no problem. I have no problem with doing that.
That's from the.
I know y'all do y'all
the
job.
cameras. Yeah.
I'm gonna walk over there. All right.
Do we have a description on the suspect?
I don't know what's up with that opera in the background. They trying to get me restricted with that. They need to cut that volume down.
We get clarification on the identity for the suspect or the article.
The shots were hurting his distance. No, they control happening and
Y'all got all kinds of shit going on.
There's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on right now. Y'all got shots fired, all type of shit.
What is the K9 for?
Yeah, y'all can check me. I have no gun residue and I have no
303. Let me figure that out. I'm not going to do it right now. I'll let you guys know what you need. 306 to 303. We have an individual here on Taco Bell. We just want to confirm if this isn't the individual that State Patrol is chasing. If they want to come and ID, let's do it real quick. That's 1371. The K9 was for the suspect who potentially ran through an alley here. Yeah, the entire perimeter set up before we start doing the traffic. 306, can we get the description of that suspect, please? Black male, 6'2", 6'20", with blonde dreads, brown pants, white t-shirt.
Stand up, man. You know I ain't got no damn. Yeah, come on, I stand up, but I ain't got no. I don't have no fucking blonde dreads.
You have that bell.
What are you doing, baby?
333, we're trying to work out the state now.
Oh my God.
Get along to that guy. We'll get someone over to check it out here.
Let's go to Miss Walker. Yeah, thank you, please, sir. My goodness, not blind, sir.
We'll check. We'll make sure.
Walker blind.
Thanks, my man.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. I understand y'all gotta find somebody. Please don't make me be the guy tonight.
Just face that spot. It's like a shit.
Yep. Second away, copy.
I have no idea what this is. This is the one. I don't know if there's another one.
Yeah, that don't make no sense. Blonde, look at my hair, bro. Blonde hair, bro. She has blonde hair, bro. You just tell me. It's not you. You don't have to do anything, bro. You said that you go out like that. That's all we just got.
Yeah, it's Lake Street. Said that. 340, we're going to be attempting to push the crowd back because the PI.
Why does it look shaking, man? Did you like, it's fucking handcuffs, right? It's like tight.
03, look at that table, look at the third.
Alright, he has money in his pockets. His wallet's right here. Okay.
Where's the money?
In his pockets.
Pull it out. Bro, y'all, is y'all detaining me?
Yeah, you're being detained. That's what I said. That's what I told you, man.
I'm not saying because you just looking at you waiting for like for us.
Yep.
Now you're telling me
just got the confirmation, man. We just gotta double check again, right? With the signature.
I don't want to make y'all mad. I just want to go home, man. That's all. Y'all took a picture of my ID. Y'all have everything about me. And I don't understand what is the reason of y'all still detaining me. Oh, shit.
That's Mr. Lakehurst?
They're not made for comfort.
Okay, I got it.
I was missing that.
Yeah.
Get in.
We'll do it from the other side.
Street light over there. We're pushing the new perimeter. Third and Lake. Up to 29.
Can you run this handcuff?
Yeah.
We'll come.
Appreciate you working with us. You gotta understand the situation.
So what is it that could...
He really tried to play it off like it wasn't him, huh? He was out there like, nah, I fell and bust my face. I don't know. They said blonde hair. What? What are you talking about? We still got it. We still rolling, family. We ain't done yet. So y'all don't roll out. We still here rocking and rolling. Appreciate y'all being here. Y'all hit the like, hit the subscribe, tap in, share with a friend. Appreciate you, family.
have taken so much so suddenly? What could have killed these 5 women who were just getting their adult lives underway? The cause of these deaths and all of the pain and the suffering that followed is present here in this courtroom today. His name is Derrick Thompson. He's sitting right there, and he's the defendant in this case. He killed all 5 women. He did so by taking a 6,000-pound Cadillac Escalade and driving it at extreme speeds while swerving from one lane to another on 35W. He exited 35W, swerving across lanes of traffic and still going over 100 miles per hour. He maintained speeds close to 100 miles per hour as he flew across 2nd Avenue and passed the speed limit sign indicating a 20-mile-per-hour speed limit. He disregarded all vehicles on the road. He entered the intersection with Lake Street by running what was clearly a red light at almost 90 miles per hour.
Well,
the 5 young women were in a Honda Civic
a
sedan,
surprise?
and they were just entering the same intersection from Lake Street, which had a green light. They never stood a chance. The defendant T-boned a Honda Civic. What resulted isn't sufficiently described as a crash or a collision. It was an explosion. The Honda Civic was damaged beyond all recognition. No one from that vehicle could have survived, and no one did. Right after the crash, the defendant got out of his vehicle and almost immediately fled from the area without even checking to see if anyone was hurt. He was located nearby shortly after and was detained.
Yeah, we got some more stuff coming up about the leg. It's coming up.
While police investigated the crash, he lied about not being involved in the crash. He lied about where his injuries came from, and he...
And by the way, this is the opening statements from the prosecution right here. This is part of the opening statements.
complained to officers that by holding him, that by detaining him during this period, they were ruining his Friday night plans. During this trial, you'll hear from some of the family members of those 5 victims, and you'll learn that the defendant ruined much, much more than the fun things he had planned this Friday night. He ended the lives of 5 young women and brought about a devastating wave of shock, pain, and grief for 5 families who will never be the same. Now, this vehicle crash was captured on multiple surveillance cameras. You'll see a fair amount of video evidence during this trial, which will include video of the crash itself. I want to play one of those videos for you right now so that you know exactly what we're talking about. Shortly, you're going to see a vehicle coming onto the screen from the bottom right. But these charges are so much more. There are 3 different counts associated with each of the 5 victims, and that's how we get to the number 15. You heard Judge Lamas read the charges in this case, but these charges are so much more than just numbers and technical legal language.
So you heard that, right? It's 5 victims. It's 5 girls, 5 women that died in the car, and he got 3 counts for each of the women. So it's 15 charges. It's 3 different charges for each one.
These represent real human beings. They're real people who had lives and dreams for the future. So I want to talk about these charges, but as I do so, I want to show you the people that we're talking about. As I said, for each victim, there are 3 counts. 1 count is for murder in the 3rd degree. 1 count is for criminal vehicular homicide for driving in a grossly negligent way. And 1 count is for criminal vehicular homicide for fleeing the scene of an accident. You're going to hear a lot more about those charges and the elements that make them up later on in the trial. But for now, I want to point out counts 1 through 3 involve Sarah Isade, who's pictured here with her mother. Counts 4 through 6 involve Siham Adawa, pictured here with her sister.
It's crazy. All their names start with S. It must be like a part of their religion or something.
Counts 7 through 9 involve Salma Abdi Kadir, pictured here with her mother. Counts 10 through 12, Segal Hersey, pictured here with her father about a week and a half before the crash. And counts 13 through 14, Sabrina Ali, pictured here with her sister. As you heard from the judge, the state in this case is represented by 3 attorneys. That includes myself, my colleagues, Paige Starkey, and James Hanneman. This trial is our opportunity to prove this case to you beyond a reasonable doubt. We're going to do that by introducing 2 different types of evidence. The first type of evidence is witness testimony. It's going to come from people who will walk into this courtroom, they'll sit down at the witness stand right there, and they'll tell you about their personal observations. They'll tell you about the things that they saw, that they heard, that they felt, and that they did. That is evidence when it comes from somebody sitting there on the witness stand. The second type of evidence is more typically what we think about when we hear the word evidence. It's exhibits. It's things like...
The evidence is going to show that anything...
Once all of this evidence has been presented, my colleague, Paige Starkey, will stand before you just like I am now, and she'll talk to you about the evidence in this case and how it's applied to the law that Judge Lamas is going to provide to you later on in this trial. So what is the evidence in this case? What are you going to hear about? Well, during this trial, I expect that you'll learn that Sabrine, Salma, Sarah, Segal, and Siam were all friends, and that they met up with each other on the evening of June 16th, 2023, to hang out and to get ready for a wedding that they had scheduled the next day. Some of them were getting henna tattoos done. Others were making sure that their wedding outfits were ready to go for the wedding. The 5 of them finished up their shopping and got into Sarah's Honda Civic. The plan was for Sarah to drop each of them off at their respective homes, but none of them made it home. While the young women were getting ready for the wedding, the defendant was at the Minneapolis-St. Paul airport. He was dropped off by his brother at the Hertz rental car airport location, where he rented a black Cadillac Escalade. He's seen clearly on surveillance video driving away from the facility in the Escalade with no other occupants. He then makes his way from the airport and eventually onto Highway 35W headed north. So as we're looking at this map here projected on the screen, we have the airport kind of off the screen or off the image southwest. The defendant makes his way onto 35W, travels north into South Minneapolis. At some point as he was driving north on 35W, a Minnesota State Trooper by the name of Trooper Guerra observed the defendant traveling at a speed that was obviously above the 55-mile-per-hour speed limit. As Trooper Guerra followed behind the defendant, he began driving even faster. He started swerving through traffic. This driving behavior is captured on surveillance video and video from Trooper Guerra's squad cam, which you will see. Trooper Guerra continued to follow the defendant, but didn't activate his emergency lights yet. The defendant swerved from the far left lane all the way across all lanes of traffic in order to suddenly take the exit onto 2nd Avenue South. The speed limit there dropped down to just 20 miles per hour. Just before he exited the highway, a group of cars had slowed down at the red light at the bottom of the exit ramp. Simply out of blind luck, that light turned green just before the defendant was exiting onto 2nd Avenue. So that lineup of cars was able to move forward through the green light and essentially get out of the way. The defendant blew through that green light, swerved around parked cars and moving cars, and continued on towards the Lake Street intersection. At that next intersection, there was a red light, and those cars that had moved through the area were slowing down and stopping at that light. But the defendant did not slow down or stop at that light. He went around the cars. He blew through the red light. The explosive collision that you saw in that video moments ago occurred right at the intersection of 2nd Avenue South and East Lake Street. After the crash, as you saw, both vehicles were launched north of the intersection and rolled end over end. The defendant crawled out of the Escalade.
And that part of fact, though, I don't know how the hell he got up out that car. Did you see the pictures?
Right in front of the home of a woman named Dorinda Pacheco. You'll hear from her during this trial. Her home is at 2937 2nd Avenue South. The defendant limped south on 2nd Avenue, but as Trooper Guerra approached the crash scene with his emergency lights now activated, the defendant turned and hurried off in the opposite direction. Ms. Pacheco watched as the defendant walked right past her, cut through the neighbor's yard, and went around the back into the alleyway behind those homes. Ms. Pacheco then went over.
I should have had a guilty one for him, because this dude for sure guilty.
To her back deck around the side of her house, and she watched as the defendant walked southbound through the alley towards the McDonald's. She lost sight of him as he entered the McDonald's parking lot from that alleyway. After that, the defendant was seen by another witness. This witness named Muhammad. Mr. Muhammad had witnessed the crash from inside of his own vehicle just a few car lengths behind the Honda Civic. He knew that something horrific had happened, and his instinct was to take out his phone and to just start recording.
Hold on, I just caught the McDonald's part. A case ain't a case without a McDonald's. You gotta have a McDonald's. That's probably where they phones be pinging off of. What up, Vernicia Williams? Hey, I see you up late. Yeah, we got a late one tonight, and we still rolling. We still got about an hour left, family. We rocking and rolling. Let's keep it going. Appreciate you joining, though.
So as he did so, he drove through the intersection, turned around, and came back down East Lake Street towards the McDonald's and the Taco Bell. His phone continued to record. The defendant walked out of the McDonald's parking lot and right at Muhammad's car. The defendant asked Mr. Muhammad if he could have a ride to get out of there. Mr. Muhammad said, "No, I don't think so. I can't give you a ride." And the defendant then walked right past Mr. Muhammad's car and into the Taco Bell parking lot across the street. That interaction was captured on cell phone video, and you're going to see that video during this trial. Now, as the defendant was actively leaving the scene of this horrible crash and trying to get a ride away from the area, law enforcement began showing up in numbers. Some approached the Honda Civic with the 5 women inside. It was quickly determined that all 5 women had already passed away, and there was nothing that anyone could do to save them. Other officers and state troopers began
Man, that's sad right there. Moment in silence. R.I.P. Rest in power. At least they died instantly. I mean, not that there's a good things, but you know, at least it wasn't no suffering involved. But still, it's crazy. Moment in silence for them. Just a moment, not a full minute. Let's get back to it.
Scouring the area, trying to find the person responsible for this carnage. Ms. Pacheco got the attention of the police officers, and she pointed them in the direction of the McDonald's parking lot, the last place she saw him go. Mr. Muhammad happened to be in that McDonald's parking lot at the time, and he pointed the officers to the Taco Bell parking lot. Police followed these clues, and they located the defendant in the Taco Bell parking lot, sitting with two young women. You'll hear from one of those young ladies, whose name is Carolyn Stauffer. She'll tell you that the defendant limped towards Miss Stauffer and her friend, who were sitting at the curb eating their Taco Bell. They were just some of the pedestrians that were walking around in this area during the time of the defendant's incredibly dangerous driving. Miss Stauffer observed the defendant, as he approached her, to be drenched in sweat and limping. The defendant asked Miss Stauffer if he could use her cell phone, and she let him do so. He then made a call and asked the person on the other end of the phone to come and pick him up from the Taco Bell.
Chloe said, I want all the weight. I want my car. I want metal windows. Give me all my weight. Destined to be, nah, he wasn't high. I mean, well, they tested him. They did find, it's coming up too. They did find marijuana in his system, but he wasn't drunk. He wasn't high off no crazy drugs or none of that. He actually said, I hope y'all test me so y'all can see that I'm not high.
Bell parking lot.
She mentioned that in the closing arguments in the beginning.
Ms. Stauffer indicated that the defendant seemed desperate to get out of the area. After the defendant made the phone call, he sat down and he stayed with Ms. Stauffer and her friend for 5 to 10 minutes. Police approached around that time frame, and as they approached, they noticed that the defendant had a cut on his forehead that was actively bleeding.
Was he speeding before the cop was chasing him? Yes, he was speeding way before the cop was chasing him. The cop didn't even turn his lights on until after the crash. He was chasing him, but he was trying to creep up on him without him noticing. But yes, he was definitely speeding before the cop was chasing him. Joni 4.
They asked the defendant what happened. The defendant claimed it was an old injury from a time when he tripped and fell over and hit his head. This was an immediate red flag to officers because they could tell that this was obviously a new injury. He was still bleeding. The defendant also happened to match the description of the person that the police were looking for. At that point, the defendant was detained for further investigation. He complained about being detained, and he insisted that he should be released so that he could go and enjoy the rest of his Friday night. After that, Ms. Pacheco was brought over to the area to do what's called a show-up. This is an opportunity for her to observe the person and then tell police whether or not this was the guy that she saw getting out of the Cadillac Escalade. Ms. Pacheco saw the defendant, and she confirmed that he was the man she saw earlier in the evening. After the defendant's arrest, a sample of his blood was taken so that toxicology testing could be done to determine if he had any signs of alcohol or controlled substances in his blood. He tested negative for any signs of alcohol use, negative for any hard drugs like meth or fentanyl, but positive for THC and THC metabolites. Now, the defendant isn't charged with any driving under the influence offense, but you'll...
So, there go y'all question and y'all answer right there. And then listen to what he about to say next. He's not charged with no DUI or nothing, but he want to throw in that this might be a problem with THC, so we should be more strict on THC driving is basically what he's saying.
Here about how this evidence could affect the overall dangerousness of his driving behavior in general, with any driving under the influence offense. But you'll hear about how this evidence could affect the overall dangerousness of his driving behavior in general. While the manhunt for the defendant and the eventual show-up were happening, investigators with the Minneapolis Police Department, evidence technicians with the MPD Crime Lab, and a crash reconstruction specialist from the Minnesota State Patrol were all called in to gather additional evidence. Police quickly located a Hertz rental car agreement near the Escalade, showing that the defendant was the renter of the vehicle. Crime lab technicians processed the Escalade for fingerprints and swabbed various parts of the vehicle and various items inside the vehicle for DNA. Now, Trooper Christopher Geiger, the crash reconstruction expert, mapped the area using various tools. He photographed the scene. He prepared the vehicles to be towed to a police lot where the crash data could be extracted from the vehicle themselves. That vehicle crash data would be used along with other data to provide further insight and information about the speed of the vehicles at various points in time and the force of the collision as measured by the change in velocity. One of the primary takeaways from that reconstruction will be that in the seconds leading up to the crash, the defendant drove at least 70 miles per hour over the speed limit. He swerved around cars, he ran a red light, and he rammed directly into the Honda Civic, which entered the intersection on a green light. Now, crime lab technicians were able to identify a fingerprint found on the center dashboard of the Escalade and another on a cell phone that was plugged in and charging in the center console as being the defendant's fingerprints. 2 cell phones were recovered from the car and showed evidence that they were used by the defendant. DNA analysis indicates that the defendant's DNA was part of a DNA mixture on the driver's side door and on multiple items located in a bag on the passenger floorboards of the vehicle. You're also going to hear evidence during this trial that the defendant's brother, DeMarco, his DNA was possibly found in one location of the vehicle. But DeMarco was never seen inside of the vehicle, and it is an open question whether he ever even entered the vehicle at all. You'll hear some testimony.
So here we go again where they was trying to, well, he didn't actually say it himself, but his lawyer said it, trying to kind of hint that it might have been his brother or maybe his brother. And we got that coming up for the closing. We're going to close out with that part. But yeah, let's keep it rolling. Appreciate y'all. Shout out to FFS, still dropping the love. Appreciate you, family. Much love, much love. Shout out to FFS. We gonna keep
the absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence.
What?
And Chanmar Black is golden dropping one. Appreciate you, family. Appreciate you. I'm going to add you to the list. Shout out to Chanmar Black is golden. Queen of the flesh of the gods. Goddess of the flesh of the gods.
Investigative tools and what they need for purposes of this investigation. Near the end of this trial, you'll hear testimony from Sergeant David Ligneal, who was the primary investigator on this case. He'll talk about the steps that he and others took to track down additional evidence and to try to piece together exactly what happened that night. Now, we are expecting this trial to last into next week, as you've heard a few times now. You'll hear the testimony from the witnesses that I just talked about during that time, and also some other witnesses that I haven't talked about. You'll see surveillance video, police body cam video, squad cam video, photographs, maps, and more. What I've tried to do here in this opening is I've tried to lay out the evidence in kind of a linear way that makes sense from beginning to end. And ideally, that's how we could present witnesses as well. Unfortunately, what happens when you try to arrange for dozens and dozens of witnesses to come in and testify is that people have doctor's appointments and vacations and work commitments and other reasons why they can't be here at exactly the perfect time when we want them. So while we're going to do our best to present this case in a way that makes sense and that is linear and logical, there's a very good chance, an almost certainty, that we'll have to call some witnesses out of order. But at the end of this trial, Ms. Starkey is going to come up here in closing and she's going to piece together this evidence and apply it to the law. Now, during this closing argument, Ms. Starkey is going to discuss the evidence presented at trial. She's going to break down the various charges. She's going to analyze the individual elements that make up each offense. And just to foreshadow a little bit of that for you, a lot of what you're going to hear about during this trial and a lot of the elements that you'll have to analyze, it's going to come down to what was going on in the defendant's head before, during, and after the crash. In her closing, Ms. Starkey is going to talk to you about certain legal concepts, things like gross negligence, fleeing the scene, eminently dangerous, and indifference to the loss of life. And I'm not going to define those here, but that's something that you'll hear about later. For the time being, while you're hearing the evidence in this case, ask yourself, how dangerous were the defendant's actions? What was his mindset when he did the things that the evidence shows he did in this case? Did the defendant flee the scene of the crash? And did his actions demonstrate an indifference to the loss of human life that he caused? When Ms. Starkey is done giving her closing, she's going to ask you to follow the evidence. She's going to show you how that evidence proves each and every element of each and every charge beyond a reasonable doubt. And lastly, at the very end, She's going to ask that you find the defendant guilty for all of the crimes that he committed and for all of the devastation that he caused.
Please step up to the witness stand, and then remain standing. And please raise your right hand. Do you swear that the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Go ahead and have a seat. There is water there if you want any. Make sure to use the microphone when testifying. And when you're situated, please say and then spell your name for the record.
Officer Damon, D-A-M-O-N.
Your first name, please?
Kelly, K-E-L-L-Y.
Thank you. Ms. Starkey?
Good morning, officer, and thank you for rushing here. We appreciate your willingness to be flexible. Officer, can you let the jury know what it is you do for a job?
I'm a police officer that works for the 3rd Precinct, and I'm a patrol officer.
What police department?
Minneapolis Police Department.
How long have you been in law enforcement?
Approximately 7 years.
Have all those years been with MPD?
Yes.
And what kind of education and special training did you have before you began with MPD?
I have my bachelor's in law enforcement at Mankato State, and then skills program through Hibbing Community College.
And since joining Minneapolis Police, have you been on a patrol assignment the entire time, or have you had other assignments?
Patrol assignment.
As a practical matter, what does that mean in terms of how you spend your time on a given shift?
I usually will be either the driver or the passenger in a squad car where we take and answer 911 calls.
You said the 3rd Precinct, is that right?
Yes.
And remind us where in the city that is.
It's technically downtown right now. I believe it's 3009 2nd Avenue South is the address.
Oh, and I asked that in a very inarticulate way. I just meant what area of the city does the 3rd Precinct include?
Oh, sorry. It includes everything south of 94, everything west of the river, everything north of Highway 62, and everything east of 35W.
All right. Officer Damon, I want to draw your attention back to June 16th of 2023. On that evening, were you working as a Minneapolis police officer on patrol?
Yes.
And what shift were you working?
3rd Precinct Middle Watch.
What's Middle Watch?
It's 1600 hours, so 4 p.m. to 0200, so 2 a.m.
All right. So, were you working alone or with a partner?
With a partner. The absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence.
What? Hey yo, hey yo, hey yo. Keep the slime umbrellas rolling. Joni 4, Chan My Black is Golden, FFS, Cha Diggy. I see y'all all going crazy in the chat. I appreciate y'all, family. Show them some love. Drop them some slime umbrellas. Shout out to Joni 4 with the 5. Let me drop you a bomb real quick. Drop you a bomb one time for the 5. And it funny.
Everybody. Lady Justice is blind. Everybody can get
drop 5, 10, 15, 20. Chan My Black is Golden dropping back to back. I appreciate y'all. Much love, much love. We're going to keep it rolling. We're going to get that award show popping. We're going to step it up. Some next level type shit. You feel me? I appreciate y'all, though. Yes, sir.
Who is that partner?
Officer Rachel Batnich.
And were the two of you dressed as you are today in a full uniform?
Yes.
In a marked Minneapolis patrol squad?
Yes.
And I guess partway through your shift, I guess, at a little after 10 p.m., did you and Officer Batnich respond to an area near Lake Street and I-35W?
Yes.
What did you know about the incident when you responded?
Initially, it was pretty hectic. It came out as, I believe, a help call for State Patrol, as there was gunshots that had been shot in the area. And then once we got there, then it kind of progressed into a car accident, and we weren't exactly 100% sure what was going on. It was very chaotic.
Is that sometimes the practical reality of responding to kind of an ongoing incident as a patrol officer?
Yes, especially with multiple agencies involved.
Okay. How does that complicate the communication?
They use different channels than us. So sometimes if they haven't, dispatch has not blended our channels together yet, we'll have a lot of missing information that we won't initially know right away, or possibly later on. And then it's also hard to recognize as our channel's also shared with another precinct. So you have to hear who's calling out their name or their squad assignment, because you could be taking information that's unrelated to what you're going to.
Okay. And so Does that mean that in addition to, I guess, trying to communicate by radio, you're also going to be trying to communicate on the scene between officers and between agencies?
Yes.
When you arrived, what did you observe?
I believe initially we arrived at Taco Bell because we were told that the possible suspect that was involved would flood in that area, which is when we arrived on scene.
Did you even know what the suspect was suspected of doing at that point? Was that even clear?
Not really clear, no. I just knew what the person was supposed to be wearing.
What do you remember about the description?
It was supposed to be a black male with dreads. And he would have had blonde tips, so to say, and they referred to it as tan pants. Yeah.
Or brown pants?
Brown
Is that something
pants.
you remember? Okay. Were you and other officers engaged in looking in the area for the suspect, in addition to kind of trying to clear civilians out of the scene?
I'm sorry, can you say it one more time?
Were you and other officers, in addition to looking for the suspect, engaged also in trying to secure the scene, clearing civilians out of the scene, things like that?
Correct.
Did you see that there had been a pretty significant car crash?
Not at that point, no.
Oh, okay. So even when you got there, you weren't able to even observe the crash?
Correct.
Okay, all right. And do you recall why you went to the Taco Bell parking lot in particular? Was there some information that led you to that direction?
We were notified that the suspect had fled to, or in the area of Taco Bell.
Was it just you, or were other MPD officers going that direction as well?
Other officers as well.
All right. In the Taco Bell parking lot, were you nearby or present when Officer Lewis Beatty identified a person who appeared to have some injuries?
Yes.
And while you were on duty that night, were you equipped with a body camera?
Yes.
Do you have that on your uniform right now?
No, I didn't want it to accidentally turn on.
Fair enough, okay. I thought if you did, we could show just where it is, just because we haven't had an officer come in with it yet.
Oh.
Is it typically during your shift, is it secured kind of mid-chest like other officers?
Yes.
Was your body camera recording on this evening?
Yes.
And have you had a chance at some point between that date and now, on a number of occasions, to review the recording from your body-worn camera?
Yes.
Did your body-worn camera accurately capture the things that occurred on the scene that night?
I believe so.
And have you had a chance prior to testifying to take a look at 4 portions of your body-worn camera recording that captured different portions of your response to this call?
Yes.
So beginning with what has been marked for identification is Exhibit 11, if we may show the witness.
She can see it.
All right. Officer Damon, do you recognize this kind of first frame as the first clip of body camera from your body cam?
Yes.
I think you indicated, but does this portion, this clip, accurately capture some of the events that occurred, I guess, from your vantage point in the Taco Bell parking lot?
Yes.
Your Honor, the state would offer Exhibit 11.
Okay.
Exhibit 11 is received.
May I publish?
You may.
All right, so before I play, Officer Damon, can you orient our viewpoint here? What is the building off to on the right-hand side of the screen?
That is the Taco Bell.
All right, and off to the left side of the screen, what do we see?
A few officers with 3 civilians sitting and standing next to them.
And what is the time and date noted on your body camera here?
6/16/2023 at 20:22 hours.
Is that about 10:22 p.m.?
Yes.
Okay. Playing now.
Let's go ahead and get everybody that's not either 5s or 3s and return to your precinct. We're going to try to clean this intersection out.
Okay, this is the part I thought we was at earlier when they showed a little bit of the body cam, but this is the full body cam right here. It ain't that long, but yeah, it's the full thing.
He literally has blood on his face. It's you, bro. You're sitting here hot.
I'm here hot minutes, bro.
You literally are sweating. You have blood on your face.
I just got surrounded by the police. I just gave them my ID. I took a picture of me and everything. I am saying. Yes, sir. I was receiving all that, sir. Y'all told me to stand up.
So why are you blood on your face then?
I told you, I bust my shit right now. It's late. By then, I don't.
So you're running?
Was I running? No.
So, I guess, well, how did you bust your face?
I tripped over a fucking log like this, right there behind me. How do they have fucking parking spots like this? I tripped over it. I fucking did. I want to have the same patrol guy go. Hold on.
Right. Thank you. Is
I
that
thought it was the fool.
portion
No, they got
of your
more
body
coming
cam
up.
where you are personally interacting with the man who's being detained?
Yes.
And was that individual identified by other officers at some point as Derrick Thompson?
Yes.
Do you see him in the courtroom today?
Yes.
And is he seated over here to my left with the blue button-up shirt?
Yes.
Your Honor, may the record reflect the witnesses identified the defendant?
It shall.
Was Mr. Thompson...
Put it straight to work. Y'all see how fast y'all donations work? I appreciate y'all love and support, family. I had to pull these up and show y'all we already working. Let's get it.
From about that point that we just watched, detained in the Taco Bell parking lot for a bit?
I believe so.
Okay. And do you know what the purpose was, that what you all were waiting for at that point? Or was that still kind of an evolving situation?
I would say that's both, due to, I think we were trying to figure out what the State Patrol was doing, because it was their...
No, I'm just playing. Actually, those donations won't kick in until next month, but I went ahead and got the thing so we could do the damn thing. You feel me?
One call, so I think we were just waiting to figure out what was going on.
Okay. At some point, was the defendant placed in the back of your squad car?
Yes.
And why was that?
At that point, we had identified him as someone that was involved in the car accident.
And I guess when he was detained in your squad car, was it to take him to another location and conduct a particular procedure?
Yes. It's called a show up. So what we do is someone that had seen the incident happen, where they could prove that the suspect had left that area. We bring the suspect to that witness. We don't allow the suspect to see the witness for obvious safety reasons. And then we have the suspect get out of the car, present him in front of the, the car camera, the lights, do a 360, and need to confirm yes or no if this is the person that they saw that was ran away from the incident.
And so, were you involved in identifying that witness and taking a statement from that witness or anything like that?
I don't believe I was involved for the witness. I just had brought him out to, do the show up to present him the 360 visual.
Approximately where was your squad car when the defendant was placed in your squad, and where did you go for the show up?
I would say it was all about a 2 to 3 block radius, and we were at Taco Bell, and I think we walked maybe 50 yards into my squad car, and I don't even think my squad car moved. I don't believe in the witness was brought to me.
Okay. And Officer Damon, were you the one who brought the defendant out of the squad car to kind of stand there and be viewed by the witness in the other squad car?
Yes.
And was that portion of the call captured on your body-worn camera as well?
Yes.
Can you see what's been marked as Exhibit 12?
Yes.
And is this the sort of first frame of the portion of your body camera that captures that show-up procedure?
Yes.
Your Honor, the state offers Exhibit 12.
No objection.
Exhibit 12 is received.
Thank you. May I publish?
You may.
Yeah. What was that? We're working on it right now. It's obviously kind of a hot mess. So just a few more minutes if you don't mind. You feel the AC now? Okay. All right, perfect. Let me know when they're ready. feet?
Nah, it's just hard to get out there. Look, what you got here? No, my head. Yep. Did you tell these people that this is not me?
That's not my job. Everybody, walk forward, please. Keep walking. We'll go in the front of the squad car. Let me know when you turn.
Please tell them that this is not me. I'm 6'5". It's not hard for me to be missed. I am 6'5". It's not hard for me to be missed. My hair is not blonde. My hair is red. Can you please tell them that this is not me?
They want me to turn again? Face this way still? Forward?
Again. Say it again. Please tell them that this is not me.
He said, please tell them that this is not me. What you mean this is not me? Who is not me? You, this is not me? What?
Hey.
So right here, what they doing? Look, is the lady that saw him was asking him to asking the police officers to make him walk because she was saying he was limping when he left when he ran out when he jumped out the car. When he left the car, he was limping. So she asked him to make him walk so she could see if he was limping.
Yeah, for 8143.
Go back in.
Whoever that 28 is, Steven, if you open up southbound traffic, Lake and Nicholas.
So to begin with, Officer Damon, at the very beginning of that clip, I believe we hear kind of a buzz sound as that clip begins. Is that a function of the body-worn camera when it's recording?
Yes.
It kind of vibrates at regular intervals?
Yes.
Okay. As Mr. Thompson was, or I guess as you were asking Mr. Thompson to get out of the squad car, did he seem to have any physical trouble doing so?
Yes.
And what do you recall him saying about why he was having trouble getting out?
I think he blamed it on his toe, but it was clear that he was in a lot more pain than just his toe, and that he was struggling to get out to basically adjust his hips and legs.
And at that initial point, as he's getting out of the squad car to begin with, do you recall him referencing the handcuffs being the problem?
Yes.
Okay. And I think you answered this a minute ago. Did the handcuffs appear to be the issue?
No.
And in terms of once Mr. Thompson was out of the vehicle, there's, I think your body camera captures some of this, but in terms of Mr. Thompson being out of the vehicle, were you able to observe how he was able to physically move around once he was standing up?
Yes.
And what did you observe?
That he had trouble walking. He needed, as you saw, assistance by State Patrol to stand up from the vehicle. And then it was very small steps to get to the front of the squad and then to go back into the squad.
Okay. 1 second.
So we got the poll up in the chat. Let me know what y'all think. Do y'all think he did it or his brother did it? Or neither one of them, maybe.
At some point shortly after this clip ends, did Mr. Thompson say to you, please don't have me out here all night?
Yes.
Shortly after that, did you receive word from the officers, the other MPD officers who were with the witness about whether Mr. Thompson was going to be released or continue to
Yeah, you caught that, Joni? Her name is Officer Damon.
be detained?
Yes,
And what did you learn?
that he would be detained.
Okay, and did you advise Mr. Thompson at that point that he was going to be under arrest?
Yes.
I wonder if she related to YNW Melly. Oh no, his is Damon or some shit like that. Damon.
Do you remember where Mr. Thompson was when you told him that?
I believe it was when he was in the back of the squad car.
And immediately after you advised him that he was under arrest, did Mr. Thompson make
I just saw you said Officer Demon.
a request for medical attention?
Yes.
Prior to that point, had he declined medical attention?
I do not recall.
Okay, fair enough. Once he made that request, did you need to wait right there for emergency medical services to show up and take a look at him?
Yes.
As you were waiting, did Mr. Thompson initiate, I guess, verbal contact with you and ask if you could make a phone call for him?
Yes.
And did you do that?
Yes.
Why?
Just being kind.
Okay. And what phone did you use, if you recall?
It would have been my work cell phone.
And how did you make the call?
Destin the B said, I thought she said Demon too. Nah, she said Damon. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. I might have to rewind it myself. I can't hear that good on this volume, you know, while I'm live. But last call for alcohol, family. We almost up out of here. Appreciate y'all being here. Y'all hit the like, hit the subscribe button. The like button, subscribe button. I think I gotta say that or something so it can light up. But I appreciate y'all. Much love, much love. Let's keep it rolling.
For him if he was in the squad car, presumably in handcuffs.
I just assisted with dialing the phone number and I put it on speaker so he could speak to whoever he wanted to.
And you didn't speak to that person, is that fair?
I'm sorry, say that again?
You didn't speak to the person that you called directly?
I don't believe so.
Okay, but it would have been a Minneapolis work cell phone that called her?
Yes.
All right. Was that portion of the incident captured on your body cam as well?
Yes.
Well.
And are you able to see what's been marked for identification as Exhibit 13?
Yes.
And does this appear to be the beginning of the clip where Mr. Thompson makes that request for a phone call and you oblige him and dial the number for him?
Yes.
Your Honor, the state offers Exhibit 13.
No objection.
Exhibit 13 is received.
May I publish?
You may.
So to begin with, Officer Damon, what's our timestamp here? I think I forgot to ask about the last one, but we'll just reorient here. What's our time here?
2303, so 1103.
Playing now.
Could you
Sure. Do you know the phone number?
Yeah, 651-246.
Hold on one second. 651-246.
5523.
5523.
Can you put a call in pending priority 9 for Squad A at Lake Street and 2nd Avenue South, please?
Babe.
Oh, yes.
Babe, they taking me to jail for homicide.
I'm out here. Where are you at?
I'm in a police car.
I know, but
I'm right here next to the motherfucking McDonald's, but they said they take me to jail for homicide.
why?
I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out. They said it was an accident at first, but then she said it was some shots fired, and then now they said that it's a homicide. So I'm just trying to. She getting updates just like I'm getting updates. So we really, it's a lot going on right now.
EMS is here, by the way.
And yeah, EMS here, so I'm gonna get in this.
Where's my car?
No car.
He's here.
Okay, my brother.
Okay, I thought you still had it. Babe,
Yeah.
I love you.
Way more.
Oh my gosh, babe.
So keep that part in mind, what you heard right there, because they're going to bring that up on the closing statement.
Just trying to think if there's anything.
She said, where's my car? He said, my brother.
I want to follow up on that. So as that clip ends, Officer Damon, you indicated to the defendant that EMS was here. Is that right?
Yes.
So had your squad stayed where you were for the show up and EMS came to you?
Yes.
Okay. EMS meaning what?
Paramedics.
Ambulance?
Ambulance, yep.
Okay. And did EMS come to the squad and speak to you and Mr. Thompson and assess him?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. Did Mr. Thompson indicate to emergency medical services that he needed to go to the hospital because he needed an x-ray?
I don't recall.
I may come back to that one. Ultimately, was Mr. Thompson taken by emergency medical services to the ambulance?
Yes.
So when a person is in police custody, but they need medical attention, they need to go in an ambulance, what do you do?
We will go with the ambulance rig to the hospital and then sit with the arrested party.
Okay. In this particular case, was it you who went with Mr. Thompson in the ambulance to the hospital?
Yes.
As you were in the ambulance with Mr. Thompson, was there discussion between paramedics about what injury he may or may not have and what the cause was?
Yes.
And were you present when EMS had some verbal interaction or attempted verbal interaction with Mr. Thompson?
Yeah.
Hey, but that's a crazy ass thing. Could you imagine calling somebody or anybody calling you saying they taking me to jail? They said I committed a homicide. I mean, besides whether you did it or not, could you just imagine that kind of call? That's some crazy shit right there. I ain't gonna lie, family.
Yes. And was that portion of your response to this call captured on body cam as well?
Yes.
So turning, officer, your attention to Exhibit 14, does that appear to be the beginning of the portion of your body camera that captures what happened in the ambulance?
Yes.
Your Honor, the state would offer Exhibit 14.
No objection.
Exhibit 14 is received.
May I publish?
You may.
Okay. So what is the timestamp associated with the beginning of this clip, officer?
23:14.
So this is him in the ambulance passing out now. I don't know if it's from the crash or if they put, like, you know, some IV or something on him that had him like knocked out so he don't feel the pain, like to numb the pain, and had him drugged up. But either way, this is the footage that she said shows best. This is it.
So 11:14.
How are you situated in the ambulance such that you have this view? Where's the front and back?
So we're in the back of the ambulance, and there's a bench on both sides, and I'm sitting on one of the benches. If I'm basically how I'm sitting right now, I'm sitting on a bench. There'll be like a chair or captain chair on my right, and the other paramedic is sitting on the other bench while treating Mr. Thompson.
Okay, and is Mr. Thompson the person we see reclined in the middle of the screen?
Yes.
And then the individual, it looks like with their head down in a dark blue shirt, is that one of the paramedics?
Yes.
I know.
So, the mechanism, yeah. Oh yeah. This is I can put it in, but it's okay. And then I took a couple pictures. So it sounds like he was going 90 plus down the freeway. And then 4x4. Yeah. Exited, ran the red, and went straight up. Okay. So pretty good suits. All right. And then obviously obliterated the other one. I can't reach that. Yeah. I'm not gonna get your number.
Do you feel like you want to call or anything?
I think at this point it's. I think if we were gonna have a neck injury, I think we would have already had it.
Oh, just checking.
Is your neck hurt, man? Nah. Alright, yeah.
434 Minneapolis, Cedar Avenue, 36.
Is this swelling over here, or is it just the...
This is swollen.
Okay.
But that's because we crashed into it. So I would.
Did she say we or he? Did she say that's because he crashed into it or we crashed into it? That sounds kind of crazy to me, family. Y'all let me know.
It was that witness.
Is this swelling over here, or is it just the...
This is swollen.
Okay.
But that's because we crashed into it. So I would. It was that witness the ball.
No, they saw him running from the car.
Just to see if the injuries are actually from the fall or from the car. Should I call it? They're gonna probably do it, but
I would say based off the mechanism. You did have shroud, bags, and everything. Were you wearing your seatbelt, boss?
Hey, buddy. You and your 10 out of 10 pain, I need you
Sir.
to wake up for me.
Hey, were you wearing your seatbelt tonight? No. Okay.
Definitely drugged up because he was way more responsive earlier. They must have gave him some IV or something, and then now they gonna ask him questions to see if he gonna talk.
Yeah, call her.
Alright. Yeah. So they said, I don't know what you guys said. Brian was saying that when they got there, he was like sitting out on the light pole. So they like had taken himself out of the car. So, like, so
Oh yeah, I found him at Taco Bell.
Yeah.
Parking lot here.
Okay. But all everybody who were deployed, he took the pictures. That's him.
Unfortunately, I told you on 30-minute crash.
Guys. So this black one is his. Yep, you're the only one who's the driver. Okay.
Dang, I might have missed it. Did y'all hear the part where she said, "Oops, did I step on your hand?" How you step on his hand? Ain't you a paramedic or something? You damaged it, but I don't know. I guess it don't matter anyway, cause what he did, I guess it's like, fuck your hand, nigga. Fuck your couch. No, fuck your hand, nigga.
Ooh, did I just step on your hand? No? Alright.
There we go.
I think that's a red tag. Right after this, I'm gonna say we weren't wearing it. We weren't wearing a seatbelt.
Sir, put a collar on your neck here, okay? Put your hair up a little bit.
Sorry.
Rest your head back. Alright. Read okay with that? Yeah?
That's
Not
fine.
too tight?
No, let's leave it. It doesn't feel too tight. Can you smile for me? Show me your teeth. That's your chompers. There you go. Stick your tongue out. I know it's kind of hard. There you go.
That's good.
Yeah.
But the way he was sweating and bleeding, he probably was being about to pass out like that. Because you know that wreck and how you messed up, and they say you're not supposed to go to sleep, but you know he is tired. That crash got him tired. I don't know exactly what happened, but
Move for time.
what?
I'm over time.
Officer Damon, in terms of the time that you spent with the defendants between when you encountered him at Taco Bell and up to the point when EMS arrived, did he appear able and willing to speak verbally to you?
Yes.
Was he initiating a conversation and asking you questions verbally?
Yes.
Responding to you when you were directing him to do certain things?
Yes.
Did you notice any change in terms of his responsiveness once, I guess once he was advised he was under arrest and EMS was called?
Yes.
What was the difference?
He appeared to be, I guess, not responding, as in almost sleepy.
How sudden or how, I guess, abrupt was that change in your observation?
I would say with 30 seconds.
Toward the, if I may play just the beginning of that clip one more time to ask you a specific question.
I'll share it when you've got it rewound.
It should be. Yeah, it's at the beginning.
Mechanism? Yeah.
Let me try this one.
So, the mechanism? Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is.
So that first couple seconds is what I was trying to get. Do you have an objection or are you good? No. Okay. Okay. And what I was trying to cover there, officer, was did you hear the word mechanism said by one of the paramedics?
Yes.
Okay, based on your experience in this context, what was the word mechanism referring to?
I believe the vehicle.
Okay. So like the cause of any injury?
Yes.
Okay. At any point, while you were with Mr. Thompson in the ambulance and at the hospital, did you hear him say, "I wasn't in a car accident"?
I don't recall.
Okay. Did he, when there was discussion about a seatbelt or a crash, did he ever disagree with that?
No.
Did you ever hear him provide a different explanation for his injuries to medical personnel?
I don't recall.
Okay.
I don't recall. Don't be asking me about no co-defense. I don't recall.
Thank you, Officer Damon. That's all I have for you.
Mr. Bliss?
After an unexpected twist in the courtroom just hours ago, Thompson's brother, DeMarco, unexpectedly took the stand against Derrick and shattered his brother's defense. When prosecutors asked DeMarco who was driving the Escalade that killed 5 women on a Minneapolis street in 2023, DeMarco said it was Derrick. Lou Raguse has been following the trial and joins us with more on the surprise testimony today.
That's right, Julie. Derrick Thompson's defense hinges on the claim that he wasn't actually the driver of the Escalade and that it was his brother who brought him to the airport to rent the Escalade, who was the one actually driving. Now, DeMarco did not agree to have his testimony video recorded, but he got up and said that his brother's defense is not true.
By the last day of testimony in the murder trial of Derrick Thompson, the jury was very familiar with the name DeMarco Thompson. They saw this series of surveillance videos showing the brothers arriving at the airport together in a Dodge Challenger. That's DeMarco in the blue cap. Derrick in the white t-shirt then rents a Cadillac Escalade. Video clearly shows them leaving separately, Derrick driving the Escalade and DeMarco driving the Challenger. A mystery that has persisted through the trial, however, is how DeMarco's blue cap and a set of Challenger keys ended up in the Escalade, where police found them after the high-speed chase that killed 5 women.
Is it possible for some of DeMarco's belongings to be in the Escalade?
So that is crazy. They found his keys and his hat inside the Escalade, but he was nowhere in sight. And when they first crashed, if y'all was paying attention earlier, they said they ran that way, they ran that way. They said they as in more than one person. And they said he had on a gray sweatshirt.
Without him being in the Escalade?
Yes. When Thompson's attorney Tyler Bliss cross-examined the lead investigator, he criticized the fact police never tested the blue hat for DNA and noted that some eyewitnesses said the driver who ran off was wearing a gray sweater, which DeMarco was.
Yes, Mr. DeMarco Thompson's hat is in there. Yes, the keys to the Challenger are in there. But that does not show that Mr. DeMarco Thompson was driving that vehicle. If anything, it shows that he was sitting in the passenger vehicle, if he was even in that vehicle at all.
In a surprise move, prosecutors then called DeMarco Thompson to testify. According to the Star Tribune, he asserted his Fifth Amendment right to avoid taking the stand, but after prosecutors promised him immunity from any crime, Judge Carolina Lamas ruled they could question him. The Star Tribune reports DeMarco testified he and his brother stopped at a park after leaving the airport to exchange some items. He said he gave his blue hat to Derrick to wear because it looked good with his outfit, and that Derrick had his own set of keys to the Challenger. When asked by the prosecution who was driving the Escalade when you saw it drive away, DeMarco answered he was. You mean Derrick Thompson? Yes.
Now closing arguments are scheduled to begin tomorrow. The jury will then begin deliberating, so there's a chance that we could have a verdict tomorrow in this case.
It's been such an interesting trial and such an emotional.
It's day 4 of the murder trial for Derrick Thompson, the son of former state lawmaker John Thompson. The case stems from a deadly crash that killed 5 young women in Minnesota's Somali community preparing to celebrate a friend's wedding.
You heard that right, son of former lawmaker. So his dad was a part of, I guess, what's that, legislative branch? Lawmaker? I think that's legislative. Let me know if I'm wrong.
Following night, here's Lou with today's developments.
Your life and your family's lives changed since this happened.
For the second straight day, heartbreaking testimony from a victim's family member.
Our lives haven't been the same since, I feel like.
Sunda Sadawa testified that her sister, Siham Adawa, was the pillar of their large family.
She brought light to everybody's lives, and since then it hasn't been the same.
The 19-year-old was killed, along with 2 first cousins and 2 best friends, when the Cadillac Escalade, allegedly driven by Derrick Thompson, zoomed through the red light and broadsided them. The jury yesterday saw Thompson's actions after the crash on body camera video and heard callous words while he was detained by police.
Excuse me, man. Do you know how long this is going to take? Yeah, I don't want to be here all night, though, you know? Like, I needed somebody to say it wasn't me, you know, so I can go about my day. I do got things I do want to get done on my Friday night, you know? It's been a long day.
Then today, the prosecution shifted to trying to prove Thompson was indeed the driver of the Cadillac Escalade. It's been established that he rented the SUV at the airport 35 minutes before the crash and drove it from there. After he was arrested, a surgeon evaluated Thompson's injuries and found a fractured pelvis.
Were Derrick Thompson's injuries consistent with the type of injuries that one could receive from being involved in a high-speed car crash?
Yes.
And the nurse who cared for him in the hospital testified that
Hey, yo, factual lie. What up, family? I see you. You didn't caught the live, huh? Appreciate you.
she had extensive conversations with him about the crash.
Did Mr. Thompson ever mention anyone besides him being in the vehicle?
No, he did not.
Did he ever say anything about being a passenger in the vehicle?
No, he did not.
Did he ever say anything about someone else being the person who was driving the vehicle?
No, he did not.
Before the trial started, Judge Carolina Lamas granted Thompson's attorney Tyler Bliss's request to name an alternate perpetrator, Thompson's own brother, DeMarco. While the jury hasn't overtly heard Bliss blame DeMarco Thompson yet, the brother's name came up during testimony about DNA testing. Swabs taken from the driver's side door included a mixture of 5 people's DNA. A forensic scientist testified there was very strong support that Derrick Thompson's DNA was there, and moderate support that DeMarco Thompson's DNA was included.
Support for inclusion for Derrick Thompson is higher than the support for inclusion of DeMarco Thompson.
Derrick Thompson's DNA was also found on the black sling bag found in the car that contained drugs and a gun. In cross-examination, Bliss made sure that...
So his brother's DNA was there. She said it's higher. She said this one right here that's in court, his is higher, but it's not impossible.
Jury remembered that DeMarco's DNA was in the SUV too.
He could not be excluded as a possible contributor to that DNA mixture, correct?
Lou Ragoose, KARE 11 News.
Later this afternoon, the jury saw videos that clearly showed Derrick Thompson and his brother DeMarco leaving the airport in separate vehicles, with Derrick driving the Escalade.
Thompson trial. So he is the man who's accused of causing the crash that killed 5 young women on Lake Street in Minneapolis 2 years ago. The prosecution resting its case after calling several witnesses this week, including Thompson's brother.
Now, the defense also resting today without calling a single witness. Fox 9's Rob Olson has been at the courtroom for us during this entire trial. So, Rob, the prosecution once again working to prove that Thompson was actually the one behind the wheel that night.
Yeah, because the defense's strategy has been to try to at least cast doubt that maybe he wasn't driving. Maybe it was his brother DeMarco, because DeMarco's hat was found in the car. Well, that's where this surprise witness...
I mean, it is like a burden of proof thing, and it is like without reasonable doubt, but I don't think that's going to slide with this one. I don't think it's going to work for this.
Came in, DeMarco Thompson, the brother, so it's brother testifying against brother. And what was really key here is it related to the video that was shown to the jurors from the airport, from the Hertz rental at MSP Airport, of DeMarco and Derrick Thompson arriving together in their mom's Dodge Challenger. And Derrick goes in to rent the Cadillac. DeMarco testified he went to the bathroom, and when they leave, Derrick's driving that rented Escalade. DeMarco's behind him in mom's car, and he testified that he was only briefly in the Escalade at the airport when they looked at it. Otherwise, Derrick was in it, driving it. There was nobody else in that car. They went somewhere. Derrick grabbed some stuff out of the car, including DeMarco's hat, which he thought would look good with what he was wearing that night. And then they went their separate ways. So that was really...
That's crazy, though. Like, who grabbed somebody's hat? Like, people don't share hats. Talk about, hey, wear my outfit. I mean, and match my outfit. I don't know about that. That sounds kind of suspect right there.
Really damaging for Derrick's defense, and maybe it was DeMarco, when DeMarco himself said, no, it wasn't me. I wasn't there. It was Derrick alone by himself in that vehicle.
This has to be really interesting, whatever's going on with the family, Rob. Do we know what to expect for tomorrow in court there?
And so check this out also. His brother testified. His brother did testify, but he refused to be recorded. So we don't have none of that footage. They do talk about it a little bit, but we don't have none of that footage because he refused to be on recording. Sorry for the uhs. It's getting late, family. We almost up out of here.
Yeah, closing arguments. DeMarco was the final witness here. Again, he didn't testify willingly. He was ordered to by a judge, and he said that. He was asked that right off the bat. You don't want to be here. And he said no, but it was a court order that he did. But just with the agreement, it would be focused only on whether he was in the car, that Cadillac Escalade, or not. So once his cross-examination wrapped, the prosecution rested, then the defense rested without calling any witnesses. The jurors got their instructions about all the 15 charges here, the counts, describing them, and we're told to be back at 9 a.m. tomorrow for closing arguments, and that'll be the morning, and then deliberations will begin.
And then you will have to make a decision.
Isn't this a nice...
But before we get to that, I want to talk a little bit about inciting it.
So this is the closing arguments right here coming up.
Incidents here. Now, in some cases...
Well, we heard the prosecution closing arguments. That's what we opened with. This is the defense closing arguments. And then we up out of here after that.
You end up with small little events that, when seen with 20/20 hindsight, can be of great.
And no, it's not the whole thing. It's only about it's mixed up, but it's not the whole thing. So it's just some of the closing arguments.
Great foreboding. Here, we have this rental receipt. $160 is what Hertz is getting for this vehicle for a week. A $70-some thousand SUV. With taxes total out of pocket for Mr. Thompson, it's $250. Hamburger prices, and you're getting a steak. Now, evidence showed from Kenitra that this was really her car. When you listen to her, the call, she says, in the squad car, she says, "Baby, where's my car?" And Mr. Thompson says, "Your car, oh, my brother." That, I submit, gives you an idea of what is happening with this vehicle. There's this shared car. It's mostly the girlfriend's car. It's owned by my client's mother. But they've rented a car, and they paid for a sedan, and they're given a 6,000-pound luxury executive car they're fully unfamiliar with. It's this moment. Right as this is coming in, fresh from being cleaned, ready to go, Mr. Thompson appears and is going to select his car. It appears it's the 5-star Hertz lane. It may be a different class, but it's the pick your car lane. If this were in a movie, you'd have the realization that things were going to go wrong, because why else would this be here? Now, meanwhile, we have DeMarco Thompson there, swinging those keys around. It's really important that you look closely at those keys. These birds on that little wooden flap, this key hanging there, whatever this piece of black plastic is underneath, you're swinging it like this, going back and forth. This evidence has been in here from day one. Still, the state refuses to even acknowledge the clear evidence in this case that there are 2 people in the car.
The absence of evidence is not the evidence.
And I think this is a good time to get into credibility of witnesses. Sergeant Dave Ligneal got on the stand and I think this is a good time to get into credibility of witnesses. Sergeant Dave Ligneal got on the stand and said the distance between this airport Hertz rent-a-car and the accident scene was between 12 and 14 miles. And it just so happened the odometer on this car said 13 miles. Now, the next day he got up on the stand and said, "Oh no, I map quested it. And I did that in October, and it was 10.7 miles. What that shows you is that when Dave Ligneal has a reason to tell an affirmative falsehood, he does so. And he did so to you, and he did so on the issues of most importance of this case. Those are those keys. And the state has never acknowledged it and never conducted the basic investigation that would be required in this case. There's an old Latin phrase that is falsus in unum, falsus in omnibus. False in one thing, false in everything. It's a little bit like Cicero's "fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me." And throughout Dave Ligneal's testimony, you could feel that. The credibility of the head of this investigation, person detailed with the FBI, working for the Minneapolis police as well, is always like, well, I don't know, maybe. And then until he can be nailed down on something, he won't move. Think about that when he gave sworn testimony in October, right around the time he is Googling or map questing or going on GeoCities for the 10.7 miles.
What is he even talking about? Like, how does this help your client at all? He's just talking. He just like practicing, like, look, I wrote this nice speech. I just want y'all to listen to it. It ain't got nothing to do with nothing, but it sounds good.
If he gave testimony at that point that he thought it was 50-50 whether or not DeMarco Thompson was in that vehicle. 50-50. And this is the guy who's telling affirmative falsehoods, who's prevaricating about the basic fact of the distance between the rental and the scene of the crime. Now, the next credibility is the credibility of...
Shout out to tonight's sponsors. You are definitely greatly appreciated. Shout out to FFS, Chanmar Black is Golden, Fonnie Willis, Chad Diggy, Joni Ford, plus all y'all, you know, appreciate all y'all being here. Much love, much love. We almost up out of here. Appreciate y'all, family. Y'all show them some love and drop them some slime umbrellas.
This man, DeMarco Thompson. Person with one of the most strong motives to give self-serving testimony I've ever encountered in a case. Who on earth would want to be associated with this situation? He gives what my grandfather would call a cockamamie story about the hat ends up in the car because after they leave, his brother wants to get the hat. Now, Dave McNeil, and we'll see the phone calls later, testified to all the phone calls that happened in that Escalade. There are no phone calls between DeMarco Thompson and Derrick Thompson. What are these people doing, flagging each other down on the freeway? They are not. They have cell phones. Their cell phones found in the car, and DeMarco Thompson testified that he had a cell phone with him.
Objection. Ms. Stacey Adams.
Overruled. But remember, you are to rely on your recollection of what you see and hear in the evidence.
Now, it's been testified to at different points that there's just two sets of keys to this Challenger. I assume most people here have a car or have been around a car in the modern era. Almost all cars come with two sets of keys. They're difficult to replace. Those are those keys. And his story about Derrick Thompson having the other set of keys is fully inconsistent with the prior testimony of Kenitra. It's nonsense, it's inconsistent, it is not credible. And so it goes. We leave together, and we get to the first major blind spot in this case. There's this 10.7 mile stretch. It's maybe 6 miles before we get anything on video. And the arrogance and apathy of Sergeant McNeil led to us knowing nothing about this period. But that's where the jury instructions come in. And these jury instructions are a foundational portion of the American criminal justice system. They are what have been established to help balance out the individual here, presumed innocent, and the state with its many lawyers and its many resources, its police officers, its ability to contact federal officials, state officials. And so I think this is a good place to discuss the framework of your job. The state has accused Derrick Thompson of many crimes. The law of this country and this state say that the government, having accused someone of a crime, bears the sole burden of proving each and every element beyond a reasonable doubt. And they have to do this despite the presumption of innocence. It's your job to make that presumption of innocence not a hollow promise, not a forgotten part of the past, but a fundamental framework of what citizenry means in America. And it requires some mental gymnastics. It requires you to put the state to its burden by looking at Derrick Thompson, presuming his innocence, and saying, he didn't do this. Let's see the proof. Did they prove it? And to what degree did they prove it? Now this comes the next vital portion of our constitutional rights when the government is accused us of crimes. They must prove this beyond a reasonable doubt. My client bears none of that burden. They have to prove it beyond any doubt based on reason. You were selected because you're reasonable people. And if you have any doubt it's based on reason, my client is not guilty. Now, these standards of proof are, I think, easiest to understand if we talk about them in the various levels of proof that we have in courthouses. The lowest is called reasonable suspicion.
Objection, improper argument.
The absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence.
What?
Yo, shout out to Joni Ford, Fannie Willis, Chad Diggy, Stacy Sibbett. Hold on, we got Stacy Sibbett covered up. Let me move that. Appreciate y'all, family. We wrapping it up. 10 minutes, 10 minutes. Y'all stick it out with me. 10 minutes. We almost up out of here. Drive home safely. Start gathering your shoes. Get everything together. We almost up out of here, family. Joni Ford says she looking good. She looking good.
Reasonable suspicion is a police officer sees someone in a suspicious manner, slumped over in a doorway at 3 a.m., looking dangerous. The officer testified, the accident reconstructions testified that during this period there was an average rate of 94 miles an hour. It appears to be fairly consistent through here.
Chan, my black is golden. What is this dude even talking about still? We almost about to hear. I fast forwarded half of his speech already, but he's still just look at this, just look at that, just look at this, just look at that. Oh yeah, okay, pay me, I'm out.
This is where roughly he interacts with the police officer.
But I guess he don't deserve much more for what he did. I guess he don't deserve much type of defense, huh? I ain't gonna be mad at it.
Now, there's no evidence that he saw the police officer. Go back to State's Exhibit 1. Remember, they put up a picture of a cop car that didn't look anything like this cop car. They put up a picture of a car with an external top headlight system as Exhibit 1 in this case. Completely unfounded in fact. And when you look at the videos of Officer Guerra's squad pulling up, you see it's internal. This is just a car following behind. There's no evidence. There's no evidence that Mr. Thompson understood or had any idea in that vehicle that it was being followed by a police officer. And so, there. Now we're getting to where the speeds do appear to increase. He's getting over towards an exit, getting closer to downtown. At this point, the police officer, several cars behind, and he takes this exit. Now, at this point, I think it is vital in order to understand this case to watch what happens. Roughly around this period of time is the 116 miles per hour. Oops. If you watch here, this is roughly when brakes are activated. Okay. Brake lights. And then, as you heard the crash reconstruction,
That's crazy too, cause look, that's two cars. So the front car right here is the cop car. The second, is his car that's speeding. The second car right behind him is the cop car, right? Or no?
is testifying.
Look at this. Look.
Brake lights.
Look how close the cop is. So how did he lose
And
him
then,
if he was that close?
As you heard the crash reconstruction is testified to, there's this downslope. And then it flattens out. We talked about momentum. Momentum is this concept that great big heavy objects push really hard and want to keep going the same way they're going. If you've ever taken a hill in a big truck going...
Hey, I like that name right there. Sagittarius received the membership from Stacy Sibby. Shout out to Sagittarius and Stacy Sibby. Y'all dropped them some slime umbrellas.
Fast, it bottoms out. And here, where this car, by the time it's slowing down because it's braking and it's trying to get to a normal rate of speed, on that, you have this two unbuckled people in the vehicle. And suddenly you're in the air. This is about 5.5 seconds from the crash itself. 5.5 seconds is an important number to keep in mind, because that's when the car is traveling consistently at the same speed, between 94 and 97 miles an hour. Despite this, evidence that there is a push down all the way on the accelerator. Now, if you view this as this singular, maniacal, driven person who just wants to cause mayhem and ruin the night and destroy this great vehicle that he's just received, maybe that it could be a possibility. But with these two people who are laughing and joking, having a reckless good time, but not paying attention, and suddenly they're off on this exit, and oh crap, we're in the city. You've bottomed out. You're in an unfamiliar vehicle. You're trying to figure out what's going on. You can see the car sort of bob through there. In the crash.
Hold on, I want to...
traveling an average of...
I know, I was unmuted already. I want to see his bob again. Y'all see his little bob? Hold on.
94 miles.
Hold on.
You can see the car sort of bob through there. In the crash. It's traveling an average of 94 miles an hour on the freeway to 38. It exits down a graded off-ramp. Appears to bottom out as the grade flattens out. The vehicle maintains 95 to 98 from the time frame of 5.5 to -1. But at 3.5, a sudden but short, heavy press on the gas pedal. And then I think the most important video, which was described by state's witnesses not very good, I think provides some of the most important evidence in the case. But I want to talk about that short jab and how it relates to the bottoming out. You've been braking, you're going down this hill, you hit it, it's an unfamiliar vehicle. You're not buckled in. You're not pushing on that to try to find the gas pedal, you're pushing on that to try and find the brake. If you're trying to gun that car, it would accelerate, but the brief pressing on that at 3.5 seconds, followed by that not being there, that is an attempt to brake.
Hold on, look at his face right here. I actually got a cartoon of this face too, but I can't find it. I don't know where the heck it is. It must be in a different folder, the wrong folder. I must have downloaded it to the wrong folder. But look at his face. He like, man, he know he done messed up. This that face that you know you done fucked up, don't you? You know you done fucked up. He like, man, what is this dude? You can just see it in his face. Like, it's over for you, buddy.
Now here's this video. While searching for the brake pedal, The driver ultimately finds that brake pedal. Now, I want you to watch this carefully. From here to here. From here to here. The brake lights illuminate well before the intersection. If you look at this, there is a brake in the apron of the
There go to McDonald's. A case ain't a case without the McDonald's.
sidewalk in order to get into the parking lot. The braking happens before that apron. You can look at the dashed lines, you can look at that extended solid white line. That is where that is located. Before entering the intersection, the driver of this vehicle is trying to brake. I submit to you, the recklessness happens here. And that 5.5 seconds is a misguided but earnest effort to try and gain control of this horrible situation that has been created. Now, I want to talk to you.
So the polls say 90% say yes, 0% say no, and 10% say, hey, maybe his brother did it. So I'm about to close the polls in 1 minute. If you want to get your vote in before we go, get it in.
About the elements of this crime and what the state has to prove beyond a reasonable doubt. The definition of depraved mind murder is, under Minnesota law, whoever causes the death of another person by perpetrating an act imminently dangerous to others without regard to human life, but without intent to cause the death of any person, is guilty of a crime. And this is where the burdens of proof in a case become important. You aren't to consider things outside of these instructions. A vote of not guilty on a count is simply a statement that the state hasn't met its burden of proof and is required under the law. And ladies and gentlemen, we have to ask more of our government. We have to ask more of the agents who get up and testify and lie to the faces of jurors. The state has simply not investigated the case. The state simply has not eliminated doubt as to the guilt of Derrick Thompson as the driver of this vehicle. This car rolls twice and spins around. Officer Lignell, in his cuter than half testimony, acted like he didn't even know if the car spun around.
Factual Lies said, but do they have a Mickey D's video? Of course not. You know Mickey D's cameras never work. Just like they ice cream machine.
Lignell, in his cuter than
all right, so look, this is closeout right here. This the closeout. I'll skip past all the extra stuff, but it is a lot longer than that. But this the closeout. It's only a minute left, and I appreciate y'all being here though.
Half testimony acted like he didn't even know if the car spun around. And yet he's the head case agent for this entire thing. It's an outrage. And my client should be found not guilty of all charges. But no matter what, whoever is driving that car was not acting in a depraved way. Whoever is driving that car was a knucklehead and a danger and a reckless person. But ladies and gentlemen, they simply were not acting with a depraved mind. They were not acting without regard to human life. They were trying to stop.
I don't know if he working for the prosecution or the defense at this point.
They were frail. They were not indifferent to the loss of life. You must return not guilty verdicts on the murder charges. Thank you.
Well, what up, family? Thanks again for being here. I hope you all are feeling the energy, absorbing those truths we just laid down, and definitely got more coming. But before we dive back in, I gotta be real with you for a second. This is a big moment for Flesh of the Gods. Your support right now is more crucial than ever. Seriously, every bit you give, it goes straight to us leveling up. We're talking about new programs, better tech, everything we need to make this show even more impactful. Why now? Because we're gearing up for something massive. That's right, family, the first ever AAI, Algorithmic Achievement Impact Awards. But to light this show on fire and make it a truly mind-blowing experience like it's supposed to be, we need your help to get the resources in place. This isn't just a show, it's a statement, and we want to make it legendary. So how about I give you a taste of what your support makes possible? Check this out. We're building out some new ways for you to connect. Now, we all know this is the most interactive live around in these YouTube streets. This vision, this future, it needs your help to manifest. So please, if you're feeling the call, throw your support behind us. Every dollar makes a difference. It's an investment in the truth, in the growth, and into our overall shared journey, family. Also, this includes new chat prompts and a couple new things that I got under my sleeve. But anyway, I'm asking you to help us make this AAI award show the most unforgettable and help us to keep pushing boundaries of what's possible here on Flesh of the Gods. We're in this together. Thanks in advance, family. The Cash App and PayPal donation links are right here. And if you could help, it will be greatly appreciated. You could also help just by hitting that like button or that subscribe button. Thank you all in advance. Much love, family. Now let's get back to the show.
These nuts. Ha! Got him! Ha! Got him!
Just a hot mess.
The absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence.
What?
Shout out to our sponsors, FFS, Chan Black is Golden, Factual Lie, Fannie Willis, Cha Diggy, Joni 4, Stacy Sibbett, and all y'all that watched and even came back on the replay. I appreciate y'all. And shout out to everybody in the chat. Destined to Be, FFS, Factual Lie, Chan Black is Golden, Joni 4, appreciate y'all, family. Much love, much love. Stacy Sibbett, appreciate you, family. My computer freezing and skipping. It ain't even, what the heck is going on? That's crazy. All right, Destined to Be. Okay, hold on. Let me just go over here because that's tripping over there. That's wild. Never saw it do that before. Anyway, Chloe Albert's Revenge. Appreciate you. Joni 4. Cha Diggy. Late Night Bacon with Mookie. No One. Appreciate you. Shout out to No One. He be helping a lot behind the scenes, man. Appreciate you. Cha Diggy too. They be helping behind the scenes like a mug. FFS, shout out to you. Chloe Albert's Revenge. Tat Tat Tat. Shout out to Tat Clouds. Appreciate y'all all. Much love all to you all. I'm out of here, man. I'm motherfucking tired. I'm motherfucking tired. Until next time, family. Y'all stay fresh and stay blessed. And
have a good night. Have a good night. Have a motherfucking good ass night.
Peace out. Jazzy T. Factual Lie.
He arose, never hate a friend of foes, just a sub to order, not giving a fuck, chasing down my goals, I self-law am master, supernatural disaster, matter physical reactions. I am the flesh, I am the God. No one got the lab on lockdown. Talking hot winters and cold summers. Black Force Ones when we slide in the streets. We all stay home at a club jumping. What up, cousin? I see you, fam. Throwing slime coins when I watch the trial. LEOs be capping, chatting action. Come and tap in the most interactive.
Peace, love, and joy, Jody Poor.
I am the God. I am the flesh. I am the God.
Lost never leg gon' tap in. God bless skin every rap in. If you like us, gon' get the lights up. You can sub, you can share, tell them pack in. From the left, right, front to the passenger side. It's right here, the premiere. How you know? Cause them boys broadcast to the live. Wanna talk about it, hit the link right here. Slide coins up, got 100 bands. Mars eyes, watch how the check. And the band made love to a bomber head. Two bands do a dance like check. I'ma keep going till I'm motherfucking tired. You what? I'm motherfucking tired. Slide real side, could we rain down game like what you mean? Just watch the rise.
Y'all can also go check out some of the shorts to see some of the stuff we got coming up. Some of the styles we got coming up. Been making some shorts lately. And now thanks to y'all, we can do it big.
I am the flesh. I am the God. I am the flesh.
Have a good night. Have a good night. Have a motherfucking good ass night.